I want everybody from this moment on to recognize me as the scholar of boxing.
See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. You've dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
Cruiser 5 to 50 be advised, County Police 1 advised they're trying to breach and get to the Capitol.
Publicists, when you talk to your publicists, you know the first thing they tell you? What? Stay away from religion, stay away from politics.
Okay.
You know why?
Why?
No matter what the you say, somebody passionately disagrees with you.
Absolutely.
No matter what religion, you believe in Allah, then you're saying that's not the right way. You believe in every Christianity, that's not it, because they're choosing something different. Your political party, the Democrat, Republican, the disagreement completely.
Yep.
So I stay away from it. When I get pulled into politics, I go,
Yeah.
and I have nothing to say. I'm
That's
just
the
looking.
same way we are. Well, no politics, none of
I'll
this.
with that. I don't stay there because I'm still entertainment. If it's not music, then it's film and television, but it's still entertainment. So why would you turn someone off by saying that?
Right.
I want everybody to enjoy what I'm doing.
Right.
Not just a selective few amount of people. I focus on diversity because it's needed.
Right.
The boxing scholar is a lover, not a fighter, but he's also a fighter, so don't get any ideas. If he pats you on the back, you'll put it in your resume. His enemy. Have him listed as an emergency contact. The scholar has an inside joke with complete strangers. If he punched you in the face, you'd have to fight the urge not to thank him. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. He's the only man alive to is parallel park. A train is count to infinity twice. In Genesis, when God said, "Let there be light," the scholars said, "Say pretty please." He is the genius of all genius and master of all masters.
And that's the trick to life. You have to be wise enough to know when you were living in your dream. And you have to be humble enough to accept when you're in someone else's.
Yo, the Boxing Scholar's on.
All right, there we go. So, starting from the beginning, April 2nd, I received a phone call from Coach Jackson and said, "Jeff, all I know is Austin has been stabbed." I asked him where. He said Kirkendall Stadium. I immediately hung up the phone and I made it there in about 4.5 minutes. When I arrived, it was pretty chaotic. A lot of police cars, a lot of people. I ran through probably 10 different officers who tried to stop me. When I did reach the track, the scene that I saw was my son, Austin, and they had a C machine on it, which actually it automatically pumps on your chest. But when I saw him, I knew he was gone. I prayed for a miracle. And as soon as that happened, I asked the ambulance, the EMTs, what hospital they were taking him to. And once they instructed me where they were going, I directed my attention to finding Hunter. And they said he was taken to the locker room in the field house. So I proceeded to go run over there. And I found Hunter, who was uncontrollably out of control, bawling, emotional wreck. So I have to try to gather him and maintain myself. And all we do is we pray. And I tell him, let's go. I'm taking you to the hospital. You're riding with me. And we get in the car and we're praying. Because I am praying for a miracle at this point, because I know my son was gone. But we get to the hospital. We get in the room. I have to make the phone call to his mom when we were driving to inform her to meet us at the hospital. By this time, the word's getting out to certain family members. Certain people are showing up at the hospital. Takes probably, I'd say, a good 10 minutes before the doctors come in. I knew what was fixing to be said. I knew by the look on their face that Austin had passed away. And they confirmed that. That very second, Hunter spun out of control. And it took 5 officers to get him under control. We had to admit him and get him sedated. And then at that point, they wouldn't allow us to see our son because now it is a crime scene. So they have to process the body. So for over 2 hours, we can't even see Austin. And by this time, a huge crowd of students, parents, friends is overflowing this hospital. It is so touching and so moving, and we're all so distraught over the news of Austin's passing. That moment, I became totally numb and went into what I call survival function mode. I had to find and buy burial plots, funeral homes, arrangements, so many things that had to be done. And I needed to stay focused. That very first night, our church held an impromptu vigil. Our church holds 1,500 people at Hope Fellowship. It was overflowing. There was over 1,700 people that showed up that night. Very touching. An outpouring from the community, friends, family, even people who didn't know us showed up in support. And I spoke that night about who Austin was. He was a leader, on and off the field. He touched people's hearts in ways others couldn't. He was loved by so many, and so many loved him. I told a story that night. And I told the story when I was diagnosed with cancer in my cancer group. They asked us, define success. And it went around the room, and most people, some of the common stuff, I'd like a big house and car and, a lake property or whatever. But when it came my turn, I had a different view. I said, my success will be judged by how many people show up at my funeral. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you go to a funeral, the people that attend are someone, hopefully, you have touched their life in a positive way. Because one thing about people, they don't remember how big your house was, what kind of car you drove, how big your bank account was, where you got your nails done. None of that matters. What matters is people always remember how you make them feel. They'll never forget how you make them feel. Because there's no U-Haul behind a Hershey. You ain't taking nothing with you. You come in with nothing, you go out with nothing. Except for what you leave behind. And what you leave behind is your legacy. Austin's legacy will live forever. I myself will make sure of it. Not only myself, but many others. His mother, his brother, family members, communities. We've set up a scholarship in his name at Memorial High School. For every year, there's going to be the Austin Metcalf'S Scholarship. We want to give back. We want to help people. That's who Austin was. Austin helped people up. He inspired. He promoted. He encouraged younger classmen, his teammates. He was always there, always believing in them. There were so many kids who came up and spoke that night about how Austin touched people's hearts. And that's what you leave, is your legacy, your footprints on hearts. That's how people will be remembered. And for anyone who knew Austin, who loved Austin, that memory will be carried on in their hearts forever. I know I'll say his name from the highest mountaintops till the day I die. And it was probably the very worst day of my life. When I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer 10, 11 years ago, I thought I was going to die. They told me I had a 50-50 chance. I told God I can't die because I have 2 boys that need their father. I would go through cancer a million times again if I could spend 5 minutes with Austin. When you're faced with your own immortality, it reprioritizes your life. All of a sudden, things that were important don't matter. You really start to really find out what's important in life. It's the people who love you, the people you love, and those who support you when you're down. You should never, ever put someone down or look down upon someone unless you're giving your hand to help them up. And that's who Austin was. Austin was always the helping hand, the big brother, the protector.
Oh man, so many things to unpack. My bad, y'all. I was over here. Y'all know how I do. You know I'm last second. What's good, everybody? Y'all buying it? Y'all buying the he would go back and battle the C word, then lose his life. I mean, like the highlights that came out didn't show a grieving parent. That's why I wanted to show like a little bit of him grieving, because I wanted to be fair. You know, but the stuff that was beyond that, it was like it had like nothing to do with the case. So I mean, thoughts?
Hey y'all.
What's good, Candy?
I can't, is it you, me, and Queen? Is that who's up here right now? I can't see
Yeah,
for real.
and Marky Dan.
And Marky Dan. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Marky Dan left. I don't know what's wrong with you, but yeah, Queen here. This is me, you, and Queen.
I think that 2 things can be true at the same time. You can be a grieving father and you can also be a racist. I understand grief and anger, and we can't tell people how to process and blah, blah, blah. That's all great. But at the same time, like, when I heard him say, I don't know how far you got because I just got here, so excuse me if I'm talking a bit ahead, but I heard him talk about, like, I said in the beginning, don't make this a race issue, and then y'all made it a race issue. And then he proceeded to say a whole bunch of racist things. And while I get you were trying to add some sarcasm or some facetiousness into the conversation, was this really the time to do so? And Like I told y'all, I've told my story a little bit. I had my best friend from kindergarten all the way through my junior year was murdered. My junior year of high school. She was Mexican. I'm black. Murdered by a Mexican person. In the anger and my grief, I never started using racial slurs to describe the person that took her out of here. You know what I'm saying? She was a bitch. She was a dumb. I'm sorry, I don't mean to curse on your page. She was every normal word that is interchangeable for somebody who is a vile, disgusting, I want to see the worst things happen to you kind of person. But racism was never a part of it, even in my grief. So I can't give him the out of that and say, oh, well, he's just grieving. That's just like the person who had Tourette's saying the N word at the Oscars. Two things can be true at the same time. You can have Tourette's and be a racist, and you can be grieving and be a racist. That's my point.
Um, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, we do.
I don't think that man is grieving nothing. That man beat the hell out of his ex-wife, them boys' mama. Them boys beat on him. I don't think he's grieving anything. He said he was gonna say some stuff to go viral. I think he trying to capitalize off the situation. And the fact that he would show up at them parents' press conference, knowing full and well he wasn't supposed to be there, let you know that he was trying to intimidate them in the first place while pretending he wasn't a racist. I think him saying don't make this was about race was to help him to keep from saying the racist stuff that was already inside of him to uh, come out. So basically he was asking the public to help him keep his self control. I don't think he's grieving anything. I think he's looking for a way to capitalize off his son's death.
Now, somebody said he was under a gag order, that he had a year-long gag order, and that's why we're just now hearing from him. Because I feel like I don't know if that's true. I will preface by saying I did not look into this to be factual for myself. These are what people are saying, but it made sense to me because I feel like if you got these kind of views and you had expressed them prior to the verdict and the trial concluding, that would not have gone well in by way of your son.
I think. Well, I don't know why they would gag or order the prosecution. They normally do that for defense. So I don't know necessarily if that's true. But I think the elephant in the room is a combination of what both of y'all said, right? Um, he's the face of white supremacy. It just is what it is, right? And what they will do is they will prop a person up, sometimes make them a millionaire. In the case of George Zimmerman, and he has his 5 minutes of fame, right? And he's taking full advantage of it because nothing about this video said grieving father, right? He showed a sideshow later on in the whatever this is in the live, right? He showed a slideshow of his kid, but for a grieving father, they wouldn't have took time to put down their grief and say, hey, let me set this down on the table. Let me address the other family. Let me address racism. I told you not to make this about race. And it's just like, bro, if this is about justice, this is a victory for your son. Why do you need to rub it in? But he understands. He just got a promotion. His promotion is white supremacy. And white people
Oh
understand this the
yeah.
same way that George Zimmerman understood. Remember, he tried to sell the gun. He tried to sell the gun that he used to unalive Trayvon Martin because they understand what this is. This is their moment. They are the mascot. They waving that white flag of white supremacy, and they know that they're aware of this. So this is exactly why you're getting what you're getting with him. He the watermelon felon, all of this stuff. The dude even started talking about civil rights. What does that have to do with your son?
Yeah. Well, the only reason why I said I felt like there was a part where he was grieving was when he starts talking about not being emotional, being logical, and the bad decision making. You could see his speech pattern, like he was rambling, going off and firing, pow, 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 pow. But when he got to that point, he slowed down. He seemed a bit more reflective. And that's why I said I feel like that was the moment where some of maybe the regret or thinking about your son may have come into play, and then he went right back into his racist rant. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me to grasp how someone can have that much hatred for other people, but still love the people closest to you. Like that's a hard thing for me
You,
to conceptualize the two.
you know what this reminds me of, Candy? It reminds me of when
Okay.
Magic Johnson was in the news because the owner for the Clippers um, was hanging out. The girl who he was talking to was hanging out with Magic Johnson, right? And
I know
during the
what you, Dennis.
recording,
Dennis was it not Dennis? Donald Sperlin was that his
Donald
name?
Sterling. Yep. And
Sterling. Yeah.
during the recordings, he was talking about, oh, you out there hanging out with them N words, and it's just like, bro, Magic Johnson has been the spokesperson for AIDS since it first came out. That would have been the first thing I would have mentioned. It wouldn't have been the fact that he was black or a nigger or any of this stuff, but that's the only thing he saw. And it's the same thing with this guy. They will put racism, and that's what white supremacy is, in front of their humanity. Like he couldn't even feel without implementing race. This is all about race with him. Watermelon felon, and he tried to act like that was a freestyle right there. Like you didn't give that a whole lot of thought. Get out of here,
Well,
bro.
first of all, Watermelon Felon, they said that he got that off the internet. They had already been saying that about Carmelo to begin with. That wasn't even something he came up with. He just let it fly out of his mouth.
Which means that he was scouring the internet, and then he's responding
Right.
to people in the comment section. It's just like, bro, you're not behaving like a grieving father, and you expect us to believe that you're a grieving father. That to me, that makes no sense. But yeah, that dude is horrendous. I remember when we did an episode and we talked about him showing up to the presser that the parents was having and standing there, and then somebody from the internet was like, it was titled Carmelo Anthony parents gets obliterated by Austin Metcalf's dad because he stood there and he didn't stab anybody to leave. Like, bro, like what are y'all talking about? That's that symbolism stuff. They understand symbolism and they will point it out. But except when it comes to white supremacy. Like the biggest elephant in the room in this case was this was about race. That was the biggest thing. Like they're in Texas from the South. The justice system has not been the best advocates for black people. We know this.
So I got
Right?
an unpopular opinion on that.
Go ahead.
I think once the boy was stabbed, then it became about race. Prior to him stabbing, what I'm saying is that I don't believe that Carmelo Anthony looked up, said, stab a white person today. I think that he was fearful. He was being approached by somebody he saw as bigger than him, and he pulled out his knife in defense for himself. I truly believe because of this, the way that this generation is, those kids, a lot of these kids, they'll tell us we're the ones perpetuating racism and we're the ones who see color and they we're not like that. Like everybody can say the N word, they super chill, blah 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 blah, right? So I don't think that he initially stabbed this boy because he was sticking it to Whitey. I think he was afraid and scared, and that's how he lashed out. I think if you had taken two white twins out of it and put two big Mexican twins or two big black twins, and he felt that same way, I think it would have been the same outcome. But once it was a black boy who stabbed a white boy in Texas, and the news loves a race baity sensationalized story, that's when it became about race, in my opinion.
Okay, two things. Marky Dan, it wouldn't let me add you. Hold on. Okay, there you go. So two things, right? The first thing is, Candy, everything is about race. As long as white supremacy exists, you can't separate it from anything because they'll show up and remind us. Even if don't make it about race, bro. We don't control the media. We don't control anything. How we gonna make it about race? It's always about race. And
I'm
even
just
when
saying Carmelo.
I,
Carmelo, I
I
don't
was,
think.
I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that, Candy. So,
Okay,
so,
okay.
so the
Oops,
only
sorry.
way
Let
that
me
you can
mute.
remove race from this, Candy, is if that you make it two black people, right? Because even the idea of uh, they were emboldened by whiteness that to go tell somebody, like when we see Karens in certain situations, that's about race, whether they say it or not, right? Because they feel like they're in a privileged position to tell a black person what to do. So it's always going to be about race. Do you think that they would have been emboldened to go be the hall monitor, the school, whatever the case, if they were not white? Like it's always about, you can never separate it. Like they're always, we've seen video after video, Kenny, of black people minding their business, adults, and them going and telling them what to do. And we know where that stems from, Jim Crow, where you had older white people who was telling black people, no matter what the age they, or excuse me, younger white, you sometimes you had a 12-year-old white boy telling a black man that was his senior with gray hair, calling him boy and telling him what to do because he was emboldened by whiteness and white privilege. You could never get away from it. Never.
Okay.
You never escape it.
Okay. You said it was two things. What's your second?
It's always about race.
That's the same thing as the first. You just tricked me.
I think it was always about race because I believe they always intended to railroad that boy. That was one of the first things that they said when this case first happened. First thing they put out was that it was not about race. And I think that was one to keep the parents from saying something, because even after listening to his parents on their interview, I mean, frankly, I feel like his parents were stupid. But I think that's what happens when black folks get around these white folks and think they accept it. It kind of lull you to sleep, and then to say, oh, it's not about race, we gonna do justice. And I was over there on X and I found Charleston White X page. And Charleston White was one of the people that told this man not to worry about them not picking any black jurors. Charleston White told this man that, oh, no, these white folks gonna do right by your son. Like, and yeah, I think it was always about race. Looking at this and seeing how far up it go, now they won't even release the video because the Attorney General of Texas put a stay or something like that to the in place. It was always about race.
Tensions are high right now. Did you see that video of the black guy who walked up on who he thought was a juror and he punched him?
No, I haven't seen it. But
I don't know. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Let me see if I can find it.
But Frisco is a predominantly upper class white area that used to be a sundown town. That shit was always about race. This was their opportunity to send a message that they don't want your black asses up there. How else can you explain 35 years for a child that's never been in the penal system?
Candy, you see that? They always find they self into these type of conversations.
What just happened? What are you saying? Did I see?
In the comment section, our children, our animals, take some responsibility. This is hilarious to me. But every time there's a mass shooting, what do those children look like?
Who said anything about their kids being animals? What are we talking about?
There's some white person in the chat. Put that. That's what I mean. It's always about race.
You know how I get down. I'm not above calling Austin ass a little thug ass criminal in the making. Because hell, if he didn't push himself on that knife, because that's what happened. Carmelo did not stick him. If he ain't pushed himself on the knife trying to be a fucking bully, then he'd have lived and he'd have done some dumb shit that he learned from his animalistic ass daddy that couldn't seem to keep his hands off of women and keep his family together so he could be a positive role model in his children's life. The boy would have fucked around and found out as an adult when he decided that he big bad bully motherfucker and could go fuck with somebody, and he was on them steroids.
It's crazy to me. Talking about your kids act like animals. That comment, and see, y'all will make us want to say something crazy back to you because that was unnecessary. Ain't nobody up here attacking that boy. Nobody has attacked the child. Like at the end of the day, you know what? Let me shut up. I don't even want to go there with you because you got to
fuck him. I'm gonna go there because they ain't got no problem calling our children everything under the fucking sun, and we sit up here and want to take the high road with these animalistic motherfuckers. If you start putting a mirror up to them, maybe they'll realize some of the shit that they say. Because I'm gonna tell you something. I live next to some white folks, and they was damn racist, and still fucking is. And one of them, he decided that it was okay for him to use the N word, and he even tried to justify to me that the N word don't mean, it just means that you an ignorant person. So I got to talking to him about this white girl that was doing dumb shit, and I called her the N word. And baby, the way that his temper was upset and angry, but he couldn't get mad at me because of all of that shit that he spewed to me prior. You know what it resulted in him doing? Telling his grandson not to use those type of words because it's rude and it's disrespectful. Yeah, being nice to these people that don't see us with any humanity ain't getting us nowhere. Fuck the little thug ass boy. That's why his ass is under the ground now, because he ain't learned nothing. His daddy didn't teach him shit. His daddy got up there and spewed all that racist shit. And that boy thought he can bully that little black boy because of the shit that his daddy put in his head, and it cost him his fucking life. And that's the truth. It's time for everybody to stop kissing white America ass and let them know what time it is, because the same rules that we get, it's the same rules they need to learn they have as well.
So, I think that whole animal comment is like not new, right? It's not new. It's not anything that's triggering for Black people, because we're aware they've called us that before in the past. We see clips of the '60s of peaceful protesters getting attacked and have literal animals suck on them. And they're the ones that somehow, or like the video I show with the pipe bombing, how they just move into a neighborhood and somehow that they're the persons that's gonna bring violence to the neighborhood. And how do they respond? With violence. Like they've always been the problem. It's never been Black people. It's never been about blackness. One of the things that make me cringe, and I like, it's like a conversation ender, is when I hear somebody say black on black crime. Like, hey, I don't even want to talk to you no more. I don't even want to talk
I
to you no
don't
more.
I don't use that term. I've come to understand that that's gaslighting and some bullshit the news and media put out. Because crime is crime, and when y'all talk about white on white crime, y'all never use those terms. It's only when it comes to
Facts.
us. So I don't use it.
Facts. So it's a conversation ender. The moment I hear them say white on white, I already know what it comes with. You know what I mean? So I'm just like smiling and nodding and getting the hell out of Dodge. Like, this person's elevator don't go all the way to the top. There's no point of me even continuing to engage with them. So I normally just
Yeah.
leave after that. So yeah, like they're not doing anything different than what their ancestors did. Like, I know that people like to believe that we're progressive, you know what I mean? Because it's not as overt as the days of yesteryear, but it's gotten worse in my opinion. That's why they could always rally around, like, whenever Rosewood and all these places got burned to the ground, it was white
Mhm.
people coming from different states, crossing state like straight boundaries to go get in on this fun, this white supremacist fun. Like they wasn't all from Rosewood when they was burning it down. Like, they just read the paper, seen white person in danger. Let's go burn it to the ground. Like, it was about their white anger. It was about their them feeling like they'd been oppressed or cheated. And it goes back to that LBJ quote. You convince the poorest white person that he's better than the Black person, you could pick him blind. They're the white people he was talking about. They're the white people,
Yeah.
because he understood that he could invoke an emotion out of them through white supremacy. You have people with not one good tooth in their mouth looking down on Oprah Winfrey because she's Black. Like that's what white supremacy is. They think that they're better than, and this is no different. This is no different. They look at this situation and all they see was race, and they started self-projecting. Don't make it about
And
race, because that's all they were gonna make it about.
the crazy part is they can't. Like, I saw a video. Somebody did a I don't know if you call it a collage or a reel, where they just showed a bunch of different moments from the Anthony's family's like life with Carmelo. And I'm like, he just looked like a regular suburban kid. Like, the way that they really tried to paint him out as this thug was crazy to me. That's why I felt so bad for him, because I'm like, it was a bad decision and a bad moment. And I know he probably regrets it and would take it back today if he could. Facing 35 years, you giving that boy double the time he's been alive on this earth to be locked up with grown, hardened criminals. And it was just really crazy to me, because to hear the dad like shit talk this family like they were the lowest of the low, and I'm like, that's a married middle class. Now granted, I understand they had some goof troop elements to them. They're not perfect, nobody is, but the way you were talking about them, like, It's the same tone and verbiage that they use when they're talking about some welfare queen or Pookie and Ray Ray that's been locked up and you're the only one in your family who hasn't been locked up. I guess there's something worth bragging on. I said, let's not act like white people don't get locked up too. It was a whole bunch of coded language. That's why I was like, it was hard to even really have any empathy or sympathy for this man, even though I know he was grieved. Well, y'all say he wasn't. I'm gonna stay on the side of I don't think you can lose a child and not care about him. You got to be some level of sociopathic for that. Even if you are an asshole of a
And I
person,
think
I
they
still
are.
think
I think they are. I
all
don't
of
think.
them.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the problem that black people make is they like that person from the Bible. They're like, is there one good one, Lord? Will you spare the city if it's one good one? I think they be on that type of mindset. And it's just like, look, man, if white supremacy ideas affect us and it goes against our basic survival instinct of self-preservation and it still can affect you as a black person, then why would it not affect the people who was designed to help? Like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And for I think those people, when they start moral grandstanding and say, well, I'm not like them, well, then that's when they failed, right? Because if it affects me, I know it affects you. If I see a black person coming and I stereotype them, right, then I know that you are doing it as well, because it's not in your best interest to be tribal and survival for a black person. So that's complete bullshit. So there are some people who will moral grandstand on this and say, I'm not like them, but this doesn't involve me, but their views will align a lot with his. Even if they're not just overtly watermelon felon and stuff, they still will align with theirs. They'll say, well, he should have been up under the tent. He should have listened to instructions. It'll always fall back to Carmelo shoulda, 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 shoulda. And that's what white supremacy is. It ain't existed all this time for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, because we didn't have some smart people come along. We didn't fought it a long time. It ain't existed all this time because it doesn't work.
I
So
mean,
let me
you
ask.
also
I'm
got
sorry.
to
Go ahead, Queen.
understand when it comes to racism and white supremacy, those people are not progressive. They are against anything progressive. It is the rest of society that want to move society forward. They want to stay right where the hell they was during all that type of shit. So what you consider to be civilized and normal, they don't.
Let me ask you then, Queen. Do you believe that there are no progressive white people at all?
No, but I think it's very few of them.
And Scholar, what about you?
Same. It's when you asked out loud, Kenny, the only reason that civil rights got passed, it wasn't because they were starting to be progressive. It was because the news media was showing how heinous they were to children, and they didn't like that big mirror being held up to them. That's the only reason. It wasn't because they were progressive or there was good white people. Like, I remember seeing a video. I know the Jane lady who does the brown eye blue eye experiment, right? And she asked how many people in this class would be against racism, and they all raised their hand. It's like, if there was that many good white people, Jim Crow wouldn't even been an idea.
Like
Slavery owning human beings wouldn't even been a thing. But that's not true. Looking in hindsight, everybody's going to be on the side of right, the side of,
like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Oh, like you can just look at like some of the recent elections that went on. And they kind of Jasmine Crockett going to this Senate race, they was saying shit like, "Oh, I like her, but I need to vote for somebody that can win." So you participating in white supremacy because you think she can't win because you worried about what other racist, non-progressive people are going to do. But when Kamala Harris was running, all them folks on the so-called left was sitting up here speaking ill against her simply because of the color of her skin. They will feign like they progressive. They're not fucking progressive. Them people don't see us. A lot of them don't see us as human. And I mean, we sit up here because we are humane to everybody for the most part, and we keep sitting up here giving these folks the benefit of the doubt when throughout history they've continued to display to us that they'll never see us as human. It was crazy to me to sit up there and listen to Carmelo parents come to this realization after these people done railroaded the hell out of their child. They're sitting there watching these people set their child up for some bullshit and keeping quiet because they being told to stay in their place and it's gonna make everything be okay.
Did you guys look into the fact that one of the attorneys for the one of the defense team members was Toby Shook? Do you know who that is? Toby Shook also represented Amber Geiger in her defense. Amber Geiger was the police officer who walked into the wrong apartment and killed the black man who was eating ice cream in his house. Do y'all remember that case?
Yeah, I remember that case.
So when somebody said it, I went and Googled it and looked it up for myself. Who was Amber Geiger's attorney? And he was the primary on her defense team, Amber Geiger. And then they used him as part of the defense for Carmelo as well. And I thought that was strange. Like, why would you pull this man in? Am I the only one who thinks that's a bit odd?
Absolutely not. I mean, me and Queen talked about it the other day. The defense team was like the defense team of Magic Johnson. You know, depleted, burnt out, didn't mount a good defense. They didn't bring up. They let them paint the weapon he used as a knife, even though it wasn't categorized as a knife according to Texas Penal Code. They didn't bring up the fact that he had a medical condition like seizure. So you have to paint the picture for the jurors. Well, I mean, they had their mind made up anyway, but you have to paint the picture of, hey, this guy was in fear for his life. He has seizure. He has this. They didn't do anything. Like I was looking to a story. I think Luke, the amazing Lucas, showed it, and he talked about how that he called a judge, and the judge told him, "Well, you better get your toothbrush ready because your team hasn't mounted a good defense." And that's the case for a Carmelo team. They didn't do anything, nothing. And this ain't Monday morning quarterbacking. In real time, we can look at it and be like, "What the hell are they doing?" Like it's like they want him to go to jail. Like that was obvious to me.
Yes, they set this up all the way. This shit done went all the way up to the AG of Texas, trying to keep that video from coming out. Because I don't know if you know, it was a widescreen video, and so if you put a grid over it, it's in that top left corner in that small square. That's why the video that they seen in court was so grainy because they zoomed in on that small square because that's where you can see the incident happening. If you filled out that Freedom of Information Act form and went up there to Frisco ISD to see the video, they tell you to look up there in the corner because that's where everything is going to transpire. Everything else is beside the point. You can just see the rest of the field and everything else. That's why they can say this child came from this way and this one went this way and these ones went out of the frame because that was the end of the video. So now they done told these people they can't even go and see this video or get copies of the video because what was supposed to happen, everybody that saw the video was supposed to get a copy of the video after the trial was over with. Ken Paxton, with his corrupt behind, has decided that they can't get them the copies of the video, which is unconstitutional. So I don't
You
know.
know
Maybe.
what, Queen? I got a confession in regards to that Freedom of Information Act. I just filed Freedom of Information Act for 2 high-profile cases that are going on right now, and I got denied for both. And I'm sitting here like, how? One of them was out of Tennessee, and they're telling me that by Tennessee law, in order for them to grant me what I'm asking for, I have to have a Tennessee license. I do have family members who live in Tennessee, but me trying to figure out how to get them to go into the website, file the paperwork that I have already submitted to get what I'm asking for, I'm going to have to really figure out who I can walk through to do that if they're even going to agree to it. And the other one is out of California. And I submitted the paperwork. First of all, they instantly told me they needed a 14-day extension because it's supposed to be 10 days. Then they said they needed 14 days. I said, okay, cool. I gave them time. I hit them up 2 days after the extension and said, yo, y'all are past your extension date and I haven't heard anything. What's going on with it? Why they send me a letter, backdated it so that they would be within the extension, and then told me that they can't give me anything, any of the information because it's all privileged. I said, I don't believe that to be true. And I'm like, are y'all just blocking? Are y'all going around the Constitution because you don't want the information out there? I don't even know where to go with it from that. One of these, actually, both of them, I had planned to use for content. Um, but I'm pissed about that. And with the whole Carmelo Anthony case, if they are suppressing the freedom of information, at what recourse do we even have? Now I have to take you to civil court to try and sue you?
Yeah, and I'm curious. The if they wouldn't give it to you, and you kind of like freelancing media, is that why MSNBC ain't showing the video? Because I'm surprised that they're
Yes.
listen.
Yes.
You
If you
what?
just
Because
think
ain't
about it for a
nobody
second,
get the video.
nobody's getting it. Then, for the other high profile cases, I don't really want to name them, but just imagine the cases that have been in the news lately that you haven't seen no kind of jail phone calls from, no kind of information from inside the cells and whatnot. None of that. I really feel like they're suppressing a lot of shit right now and putting it under the guise of privileged information. I'm pissed about that.
Yeah, that's funny because they talk about how liberal the media is and how the media is slanted towards black people. That is hilarious, by the way, even saying out loud. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. That makes a whole lot of sense too.
I
And
brought
yeah,
that up. Not I just brought that up to say it's not just Carmelo's case. They're doing it with all of these high profile cases that have a racial element. Both of the two that I mentioned do have a racial element to them. And maybe they're doing it with the rest of them too. But I can only speak for what I submitted my FOIA request for.
it's
Not
just a
FOIA.
big old conspiracy with the government that we are in. These people is trying to set us up to get used to a type of treatment and behavior and expectation. And I mean, it's some scary times we in right now. Because for them to railroad this boy like this while everybody watching is crazy. Like, that don't even make no sense.
But they could get away with it, Queen. There's no repercussions. We don't own anything. We don't have anybody that's going to go fight for us. And the moment that we do, fight back or do anything, we're met with stupid people that are obsessed with race in the comment section, the black fatigue. Y'all don't even know where that's from. Just hijacking words. Like, bro, we can't have nothing. We can't donate. We can't donate to causes that we think where we want justice. That is that is portrayed in the media as negative. Oh, look at them. They're giving money. They want this criminal to walk. Like we don't know that the justice system is unfair to black people. Like we got to just ignore that. Meanwhile, they could raise money and help a white woman become a millionaire for calling a little kid nigger. Like you can't make this shit up. Like, and this is why I was telling you earlier. Ken, you asked me, is there any good ones? Like, I give the analogy that Muhammad Ali
I
gave.
asked you if you believe. I'm not asking if there are any good ones. I'm asking if you believe that
And
there.
this is what I believe. This is what I believe. And I seen this video a long time ago as a kid. I feel like it was perfect. You know how somebody articulate what you believe? I believe that no race is 100% bad, but I think it's more bad than good. And I think that the ones who are good know that they're better, like the skinniest kid at fat camp, and a moral grandstand. And that's why you don't get a lot of progression from that side. Because, like Ali gave the analogy that, okay, suppose it's 1,000 rattlesnakes coming to the door. And out of those 1,000 rattlesnakes, 100 of them are not poisonous. Am I supposed to leave the door open and let all the rattlesnakes in just for the 500 who ain't that's the great analogy for racism. Like based on what I'm seeing and observing, it's only natural for me to be defensive because self-preservation is a law of nature, right? I can't worry about the ones who are good, right? They supposed to be out there fighting the good fight. They supposed to be an ally, you know? And if they looking around and looking to their left and right, they supposed to be chastising white people because they know it's more of them that are bad than good. So they supposed to be an ally. So, but I don't see a whole lot of that. I'm looking in terms of just content creator. Now, I will say this: I did see some TikToks of white people going off because they realized that this is what this is. I did see a couple of those, but not a lot. Not a lot. I see more black people cooning than I seen white people calling out white people.
And that's the sad truth of it all. You look around this space, And these, like, y'all don't get brownie points for calling that boy a demon. You don't get brownie points for calling him a criminal. You don't get brownie points for calling him the N word. Like, it's not gonna make you any less of a N word than I am an N word. Like, they're gonna pat you on your head temporarily, and then when it's time to remind you of who you are, you will thoroughly be reminded. Ask Myron.
Absolutely. And you know what? Even white people, even the white mascots like him, like Austin Metcalf's dad, those people go back to mediocrity once the message is echoed throughout America. White supremacy is supreme. White people are at the top, and we do not want company. Once that message is over, they go back to regular life. George Zimmerman was broke last time I heard, and homeless, right? Because he served his purpose. He tried to extend his 15 minutes, be more than just a mascot, because he felt like he understand that he got promoted at his job of white supremacy, but it didn't work. It didn't work. Like, hey, bro, we don't need you anymore. Your case is old. Trayvon Martin, is not here, and you're not guilty. You show white supremacy is a system that works, and it worked for you. So we no longer need you. And he had to go back, and all the money that they donated to him, he was in the negatives because he's an idiot and didn't know how to use it for his legal team. And then he tried to sell the gun off, and he tried to do a bunch of stuff, and it just did not work. The same thing's going to happen for Austin Metcalf's dad. The moment that they're no longer...
I disagree. Only because he was virtue signaling to Charlie Kirk and them. I feel like I would not be surprised if Turning Point picks him up.
But they're on a lifeline. They're right now. They're on the life support. Nobody cares about them.
Gonna pick him up because he looked like white trash. They ain't gonna pick him up.
Once CK passed away, nobody cared about Turning Point. Like he was the heart and soul of that. Let's be honest. He was the engine.
No, I disagree. Turning Point is popping up at these colleges. They're still out there. They're setting up shop at these colleges like new fraternities. Are you paying attention to where they're infiltrating?
No. So I agree that their ideas are still popular because it's white supremacist ideas. Same thing with the Heritage Foundation, Project 2026 now, or 2025, that's implemented and being practiced out in 2026. But I get them being strategic. I'm talking about them as far as popularity and their talking points. Like, nobody really cares anymore. Like, I seen a wave of when CK was still alive, of young conservatives that was really like rallying around that, and personalities popping up and stuff like that. Versus like I look at stuff like Fox News and what it was structured as, a bunch of old guys like Bill O'Reilly, you know what I mean? What's that dude used to cry all the time? I can't think of his name right now. Oh my God, he was so corny. But he used to always be crying about the idea of freedom and stuff. Those people kind of like figured out. Yes, crying about freedom. What is that?
Rush Limbaugh? Is that him?
No, Rush Limbaugh. He was part of the journey, but it wasn't him.
Glenn Beck.
Huh?
Somebody Glenn Beck.
Glenn Beck, that's it. It was Glenn Beck. He used to be up there crying. He used to have a chalkboard and breaking down. So that stuff was hilarious. But what happened is that little window died off, right? And those because I mean, their viewers, the average age of their viewers is probably like 70. You know what I mean? Those people are old and they're passing away but what happened is they had to rebrand themselves, and how they rebranded themselves, what saved their party was Donald Trump and MAGA, right? That's why there was a split at the beginning. Between the Albright and the old conservative way. And I think CK kind of came during that MAGA wave and took that to the next level. Like, like he harnessed the energy, but without him, it's nothing. Like, their party does not like women. They're not going to let Erica Kirk lead anything. They're coming out with conspiracies against Erica Kirk. Like, that's what I mean. I think their movement is over.
No, what they just trying to move up away so they can put a white man up there. That's all it's about. And they got chapters in schools like K through 12. They got chapters in regular public schools as they destroy public schools. It's fucking crazy.
I didn't even know that part, Queen. I knew that they were on the college campuses. I did not know they were in the public schools too. Damn.
Yes, they are in public schools. And that's another thing. These people be coming in here and talking about our kids act like animals. Let me tell you something. Unfortunately, in my opinion, for my children, they have to go to school in a predominantly white school because this state is predominantly white.
Mhm.
And every time I go to their school, them damn white children is in there acting like they at the goddamn zoo or something. They be screaming and hollering, jumping up and down in the hallway, cursing loud and all this type of stuff. The administration, I just be like, what the hell? I have never seen that type of behavior in no predominantly black school. I ain't never seen it. I
Mm.
seen this shit and this shit had me appalled. I was like, this what they do in the school. My daughter come home damn near every day complaining about the behavior of them kids at that damn school. And I don't really know what to tell her. Cause where I come from, you get to acting like that at school, somebody is going your behavior is going to be swiftly corrected. And these children act like this shit normal. So it'd be real funny to me how they come in here and say our children act like animals and shit. Our children know how to behave. Hell,
One thing I will say, being out here in the suburbs, I ain't never seen kids cuss their parents out. Like that was something that was unheard of growing up. When I was growing up, I still don't curse in front of my parents. I'm grown, and still won't do it. And I'm watching these kids. Shut the fuck up, mom. What? It just blew me. But our kids. Oh, okay, all right, you
man,
got
I
it.
went to at the beginning of the school year, they had a parent teacher conference and shit. I go up there to teacher like several of the teachers actually. So I can tell you have a lot of structure in your house, don't you? And I'm like, what? What do you mean? No, I'm just asking because I say certain things in class and your child immediately gets to it. Everybody else is just looking around like they don't understand what I said. I said, boy, so it's just crazy to me the shit that these people say to us. And it's a marked difference in the way that they rear their children versus ours. I'm like, well, mate, I don't know if we doing the right thing by making our kids stay in line and shit. Maybe we need to let them run around and tear up shit because that's what they do.
Mm, mm. I don't even know what to say about that, Queen. Like, ugh.
It's just
Yo,
really weird. And I'm like, a lot of black folk, this is what's interesting. Just like a lot of white folks got opinions about us and they ain't never been around us. A lot of black folks got ideologies about white folks. And you can tell if you've ever lived around white folks that these folks don't know what the hell they talking about. Cause white folks got some of the most ghetto ass shit going on. The same shit that you can see in the black community and the things that they stereotype us with, they got going on. And a lot of times it's worse than anything we would have ever seen in our community. But they don't talk about that because they got population numbers to buffer that shit. That's why they obsessing about people having babies and shit, because if they populations continue to decline, it's gonna expose all that bullshit that they got going on in the white community because their motherfucker is not pristine. Like
What
people
the
be
part people
like,
forget, like when you watch even some of these scary movies, and I hate to take it so remedial, but I was just watching Wrong Turn 5 the other day, and in that movie what they had hillbillies that are cannibals, and guess what color they were? And I'd be like thinking to myself, like all of the examples, like granted that's a movie, but y'all be forgetting that like the range of whiteness isn't always just doctor, lawyer, suburban
yeah,
$0.5 million
they always get to
house
get represented by their best, and we have to be
by their
responsible.
best, and we
And we
we be
have a smaller
forgetting
population. That's insane.
we be forgetting they got the whole deliverance banjo cousin fuckers out there as well. Like hello, hello. So when I hear,
I don't
go
forget.
ahead.
I'm
go
from
ahead.
Texas.
Sorry, Quinn, go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish what you were saying.
It's it was just it's crazy. It's odd to me. I think you're right. A lot of people who live in like areas that are predominantly black and have very little white people, very little interaction with white people, I think sometimes have a real idealized view or romanticized view of who you think they are as a race of people. But if you've worked with them, lived amongst them, I've had people in my I have close friends who are actually white, broke bread with them and whatnot. Like had them in my house eating food. Like you get to realize these people are not fucking magical. They're not special. They're just people. And y'all put them so high on this pedestal, and it's really ridiculous because you put them way up high and look at your own people as less than or low. And I don't know, it just makes me really kind of feel sad for them because, like, who failed you in your past? Who amongst your people didn't prop you up, gas you up, hype you up so that you really see who you are in relation to other people? Like, I'm never going to look at another group, another race, another anybody and prop them up over myself. Self-preservation? No.
I
Well,
mean,
Candy,
that's
you got to remember
like,
they consume the same media we do, right? So they have the same media we do, and it's funny. I just said this, Queen. I think you was on this episode. I said that white people have convinced themselves that they made the greatest sin that they made was slavery, but in a matter of 2 or 3 years, right? Because they always simplify history, right? They came to their wits about themselves, and then they fought a civil war, and then Martin Luther King happened, and slavery didn't exist no more. It just evaporated. They don't know about Jim Crow, and they don't hang around enough black people. That'd be a lot of the problem. Most of the white people, Candy, that you were asking me, do I think all most of the ones who are what you would call quote unquote woke are people who have interaction experience with a lot of black people. Because when you see people like Bill O'Reilly, the first time he ever went to a black restaurant, he went to his show the next day. He was like, these black people they were nice. They gave good service, and the food was delicious. It's like, yeah. What did you think? Did you think the stuff that you were spewing on Fox News was actually true about black people? That black people are
yes.
gonna be these cannibals that you know what I mean? Like they're gonna just come with the loincloth and then the bone in their nose and
Hmm.
but they don't have enough interactions with black people to
But
They
understand that.
don't. And we don't
I'm
have enough
leery. Go ahead,
interaction.
Queen. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just saying, and we don't have enough interactions with them. So it's two groups of people because that's all that matters in the United States of America, just the black folk and the white folk. So you got two groups of people that largely don't know nothing about each other. You
I
got one
think
group. Go ahead.
I think it varies. I'll put it that way. When it comes to like white people who want to get to know black people, be around black people, I'm leery of them because I'm gonna put you in one or two categories. You're the pearl type who is coming to gather information so you could take it back to your racist buddies and be like, see, I know all about the blacks. And then you got the kind of white people who I feel like really truly want to know or grew up around some black people, like grew up in a multicultural area and don't have this the blacks sort of mentality when they look at us. Like I think it's two different groups of white people that want to be in proximity to blackness. I hope I explained that right.
Yeah, but I don't think it's enough white folks that actually want to understand who we are as a people. I don't think most white people see us as humans. Just like that fool that initially came in here talking about what they mad about when uh Jim Crow or slavery and whatever the hell they said, and they then said something about it was 70 years ago. That means that somebody's grandparent is still alive and lived through that shit, you dumbass. It
I'm
wasn't
glad you
that
said
long
that.
ago. Like, what
I
are
still
you
have I great grandmamas, my grandmothers are 90 years old, which means 70 years ago they were in their 20s and still experiencing this. Which means that they had children that were born in the midst of that. What the fuck are you talking about? Why do you act like 70 years ago was like a million years ago? You realize the remnants and effects of that are still in place,
They don't
right?
care. They don't care. And the same, explaining that to them, we don't even have to go that far back. The justice system is what it is today. Carmelo Anthony is an example of the unfair treatment of the justice system. We have similar cases that we could bring up. Casey, Allison in Texas, premeditated murder, stabbed him multiple times. He got manslaughter. He got
Mm.
manslaughter in Texas. We don't have to go. We ain't even got to go back 5 years. We could stay on today. Like we can go to today. We could bring up the what was it, Ricky Chow, whatever his name was,
The child,
the
that child
Asian
do.
guy, hunted him down
Yeah.
and shot him in the back. And they determined where were all these justice warriors that are in the chat? Why didn't they show up and say, hey, that was a child. Hey, somebody lost their life. Hey, all the things that they're
Oh
saying.
no,
Why didn't they
no.
say?
They didn't show up for that. They said he was a criminal. That's what they were saying. Well, he had a gun. He had an illegal gun, so he deserved to die. Oh well, he was a suspected thief, but he didn't steal. Like it's rules for thee, but not for me always.
And that's
But I
what white
think
Right.
y'all
And
supremacists
then
do.
when I say that Austin was a damn bully, so he deserved to die. Well, bitch, that's what happens to bullies. What the fuck is we
yeah,
talking about?
but I think y'all missing the beat with all them other cases. As far as Austin goes, in that case with that boy, like a lot of stuff get introduced with this, but the actual facts of the case don't have anything to do with a lot of stuff that this conversation has to be done with this stuff. A lot of these internet conversations, because even if we want to assume that the boy was a bully, which I don't know how he could be a bully when they didn't go to the same school, that's almost impossibility for him to be a bully. Like a lot of these narratives and some of the things that have been said, they're just things that are being said. And as far as the boy getting beat up and all that, when you look at the actual pictures, the intake pictures of the young man when he made it, when they took pictures, it wasn't any of that. He didn't have no busted lips, he didn't have his nose beat up. Like it wasn't that. It was literally a shove and then a stab. So you could say whichever way you believe it was completely right, one way or the other. I don't think either one of these boys was right. I think it was a tragedy, and I think it's that. I think anything added to it, we just add stuff to it. That's how you get the internet saying that the boy was suspended. That's how you get the internet saying that the boy, daddy, he was beating up his daddy. Like that's how you get the internet introducing all this stuff. And it's just so much nonsense. It's hard to weed this stuff out besides it just being rumors. And you also get like people trying to go over this boy body, and like we've seen them do our kids when you're gone, and they try to go over your whole life when you're gone. I think that that's insignificant of the actual incident itself. And we always, when we have the knowledge to know that we've seen this with Trayvon Martin, when they try to go through your history and they try to manipulate that. I don't think any of those things have anything to do with the actual incident itself. If we look at the incident itself, that's where it lies. And with the court system and how the court did what they did. Now, I don't think he should have actually walked. I think that's a far a fetch for him to just walk and not have any time. The amount of
Yeah, I
time I
mean,
think most people believe he should have got some time, but not that much time. I think that's the consensus of most people is that that young
yeah.
man got too much time. Like him walking, that's a small percentage of people that believe that.
I do believe he should have served some time because somebody did lose their life in the
No,
process of that.
no.
You know what? And this isn't, oh, you trying to appease white people. Like I said, I prefaced by saying that I did lose a friend of mine in high school, and I wanted that B to serve some time for the murder that happened to her. Excuse me, I didn't mean to say that word on YouTube. I wanted the person who ended her life to suffer some consequence for what they did. So I am applying that same logic here. Um, yeah,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I think logically speaking, he should have got some time. But I think by letter of the law for M1, he should have walked. If
Hmm.
they would have given the proper charge, then he would have got whatever time and probation that he deserved. But for M1, he should have walked. That's because it was an
Yeah,
overcharge. But it was
20.
a whole conspiracy. Hold on. But the whole thing about the humanity aspect. Girl, it was a white dude. Okay. This case and the way that this boy was treated is the thing that made him realize that perhaps the party that he is in is not something he should be doing. Like, it takes for something this severe for you to realize that the shit that these people is doing is not right, which goes back to they don't see our humanity. And we keep sitting up here like, oh, if we just be nice, don't say this, don't do. No, fuck that. Treat them motherfuckers the way they treat us. And then maybe it'll start dawning on them that this shit here ain't right. Because they think what they do to us is absolutely fine and okay. Like, for instance, the other night, you notice how them people ran up out the chat when I started calling that boy what they call our children?
No, what chat were you in, if you don't mind me asking?
No, we was up here on this panel And
was
I
he?
was like, oh yeah, he was a thug, and that's what thugs get. I should have called him a drug addict too, because they found all them steroids in his system when they did the toxicology report and some dope. But ain't nobody talking about that. But had he been a black boy, that should have been plastered all over the
It
news as
sure
a
would.
justification for how it ain't his fault that he was murdered. But whatever the case may be, they were saying all that, and I started talking to them the way they talked to us, and they kept calling me dumb and all this shit. And I was like, no, let me tell you something. I just did to y'all what y'all did to us. All them motherfuckers left out the track, and a new crop came in.
Not you trolled them out they bodies. Not
But
you
that's
did
what they
that.
need, because these folks is in they
But
in
we
some
gotta
kind of
have.
fucking mind state that they act like they can't see and understand what the fuck is going on. And black folk is still, we can hold hands and get along. No, the fuck we can't.
So I got a couple things. To
Okay.
say. So first thing is Pittsburgh T. You said that we seen the pictures and we didn't see no visible scars or anything for bullying. And then you look at the chat, Pittsburgh T, and you see that white supremacy is not always physical, right? Like they're pulling up calling Queen uneducated. They don't know what her educational background. It's nothing she could do. Like that's why I say you cannot separate the race from this. It's funny that white people claim that they don't understand how racism exists. It happened so long ago, but they always find the right words. They find the exact same words that they used during Jim Crow, the exact same watermelon felon. Oh, that's so clever. Oh, that was cunning.
The
Oh, so
last
witty.
stream, they was down there calling me somebody baby mama and all that shit. I ain't never been nobody's motherfucking baby mama.
You
What are
know.
you talking about? No,
Yeah.
because
But
I'm
look.
black and I have a southern drawl, that means I'm some kind of baby mama. I get welfare and all of this shit. None of that is
But,
true.
but see, I
None of
think
that
like
has
look,
ever
like
been
I
true.
think.
Because I'm
But
black
see,
and I sound like this, I done went to the abortion clinic a couple of times too, right? That ain't true neither. None of that shit is true about me. But this is the
Right.
shit that they'll come out their mouth and say. And sometimes it's even black men that do this shit to me as well. So it's just crazy. You just like they said, there is nothing you can do to make these people see your humanity. And me personally, myself, I am past the point of trying to get along with these people. I don't code switch. I don't do none of this shit. What you see is what you get, and if it's not palatable to you, then leave it where the fuck it's at and get the fuck on. Because I got a right to exist just like you do. Don't bother me, and I won't bother you.
And you know what it
You
goes
know.
to, Queen? You know what it goes to? I even heard during that full interview with Metcalf's dad, he talked about how he's not scared. Come to his house because he got God on his side. And I'm like, there it is. There it is. You remember in Django when he had the scripture around him, he was whipping the black person? They always justify their actions through God because they feel like God died
hold up.
and left them in charge.
Well, the
Hold up.
KKK was a Christian based group too, though.
Facts.
Let's not
But
forget
hold up.
that.
But how we gonna act like somebody takes somebody's son and you want him to be holding hands with the other person? I'd be mad as a firecracker too. Like I'm probably not gonna do the shit he doing. Obviously, nobody would. But nobody's gonna be obviously mad happy about the person who took your son life. You're not trying to hear none of that stuff.
What does
So,
that
but I
have to
think
do
the
with
case
watermelon felon?
it,
What is like so what is that? What does that got to do with
it's
justice?
racist, obviously, scholar, but it don't. None of that has to do with the actual case with them teenagers, and that's the problem with this. We introducing all this other stuff with that actual incident with them teenagers. Ain't none of that stuff had nothing to do with it. None of the rumors had nothing to do with it. The parents ain't had nothing to do with it. None of these groups that get themselves involved, they didn't have nothing to do with it. It was an incident between two kids. They didn't. They didn't. Nobody said anything about any racial epithets being thrown back and forth. Either way, it wasn't a long incident. They weren't arguing for 45 minutes. None of that stuff happened. Like, so we can't add all these other things into it because it makes our argument more stronger on either side. It just is what it is. The incident is what it is. Now we want to talk about other things that's different, but that's not that incident. It don't have nothing to do with that incident with them two teenagers. They didn't know each other's history. They didn't know nothing about each other. They know if one of them was more. They know nothing about each other. It's something that happened that should not have happened.
So Pittsburgh T. The reason why we're talking about this, the case is already over. The reason why we're engaging in this is because the daddy did a 2-hour live, 3-hour live gloating, nanny boo boo. He did not. He talked very derogatory towards the parents of them. He talked very derogatory to the son that got time. And it's like, bro, like you won. You got justice for your
Bad
son.
winner.
You said that this was enough. You said this was appropriate, and he didn't get away. Why is that not enough? What does that have to do with civil rights? It's
What
racist.
the hell
And
do they got to do with DEI? This man
DEI,
said every
nothing.
racist trope
Exactly.
that he could pull out, every white supremacist trope that's running around these internet streets. He said it in that thing. And what the hell do any of that got to do with the fact that your son is 6 feet under the ground pushing up daisies, bitch nigga? Well, you ain't no nigga, bitch cracker. The fuck?
But that's why. But
You
that's why
gotta
he would
chill out with
always
that type
forever
of law.
be. Yeah, you got to relax some of that. But that's why he would always be mad with
You
it.
don't tell me
Like,
what I need to do for nothing. You let Scholar handle that.
lady, just chill out. Every time I come
No,
up here,
don't
you
tell
ask
me,
me.
lady.
Nah,
You
we ain't
address
finna do
me.
this. We
Come
ain't
on,
I
finna
didn't
do
lady.
this. We
address
ain't
Come
finna
on,
him.
do this.
lady.
Nah, we ain't
Come
doing this.
on,
We ain't
lady.
doing this.
Relax.
No, Scholar. I did not address
Now.
him. He addressed me.
It
Tell
don't
him
matter.
not
Go
to
ahead. Okay,
address
we can
It
me.
start
don't
over. We can
matter.
start over.
You
We can
just
Thank
start over.
you. Thank
So
you.
we can start over. Go ahead, Tiga. What you saying?
Man, listen, that man got a right to be mad forever. I would be mad forever with the person that did me. I wouldn't do none of the racist shit. That's him. That even if he is racist, that still don't have nothing to do with this incident. None of it. And nobody, I don't think nobody's saying he's right for doing any of the racial epithets that he did. That don't have nothing to do with this incident. This incident and this young boy and the things he did, some of it is just it's unparalleled what the judge did in the actual trial. When you look at the trial, you look at what was done, considering the transcripts, a lot of that stuff was wrong. And a lot of it was getting overshadowed because we getting caught in the weeds on all this extra stuff.
Okay, a couple things. So I done put this 5 times and it's done blocked me in my chat. Taylor, put them in timeout. If they don't learn their lesson, zip them up and sit them out. But so I was gonna say a couple things to unpack Pittsburgh T. I feel like why we gotta do the Macarena around the obvious, man. Like you even admitted that this whole thing was like symbolism is important. They understand it. They understand it. I see it in their everyday life how they point out symbolism. Right, like with the Super Bowl stuff, the Bad Bunny stuff, and how they had a Super Bowl of their own. How JD Vance said, "You don't have to be afraid to be white anymore." They understand it. So why, whenever this right now, he's being the mascot of white supremacists. No matter what you believe, the if justice was served or anything, let's say you're mutual on this situation. You're not seeing race. You know what I mean? You don't see color. Which the people who don't see color, what the hell do y'all do at a stoplight? That's neither here nor there, right? But let's just say that you're mutual. What are you getting out of like Pittsburgh T? I don't know if you've been looking at the comment section, but when we talk, they say, "Oh, your children is discipline your children." But when you talk, they're like, "Yeah, he's right. He was a watermelon fella." It's like, bro, like they agreeing with you and trying to use you, weaponize you against us. That don't give you pause. Like, damn, man, maybe I
No, I
need
don't
to.
care. Yeah, I don't sit there and watch the chat. Like I'm not talking to the chat. I don't care what the chat's saying.
You
I'm
know
not
what?
doing it. I don't care.
You know what's funny, Scholar? I've been in some places where white folks be saying kind of crazy shit, and if I choose to engage with them, you know how I shut them down? I just tell them where I live, and they instantly shut the fuck up because they know that I can see everything that they fucking do up here, and they instantly all that shit that they be talking about black folk and other minorities. You tell them you live amongst them, they will instantly shut the entire fuck up because they know that the image that society puts out for them is not what they actually live like. The other thing I wanted to say, this is in response to Candy when she said, like, who didn't instill something in you? That the dog test. That's what society does to your mind. If you don't have strong parents that are actually instilling shit in you, like most black, for instance, this is kind of crazy, but it be little stuff like this. My husband and sister-in-law likes to eat wheat bread, and my mother-in-law would always buy the white bread. And she would buy the white bread because she said it was better because it was white. Despite the fact that they said they liked the wheat bread because it tastes better. It wasn't until they was grown that she finally understood that they actually liked the taste of the wheat bread. That's how fucking crazy living in a racist society can warp your fucking mind. So all the time, I can't be upset at black people, but I can say there does need to be some psychological methodologies put in place to combat this shit that we living in. Cause the way that the society set up, every time, like, you know how long it took to get black representation on the TV? Every time you seen a family, it was just a white family. When you seen black folks, it was some old stereotypical ass shit, or like, what's the little boy, the little black boy in what's the name of that movie? The He-Man Woman Haters, the Rugrats, not the Rugrats. Y'all know what I'm talking about. What's the name of that movie?
You talking about the Rascals?
Yes, the Little Rascals. We got them type of characters being the representation of blackness. You grow up seeing all this stuff. You go to school, they don't teach you none of the history. Like, a lot of the inventions and shit that make America America and the shit that we enjoy, the erase the black contribution right on up out of it. It ain't till recent times that we actually started learning all of the contributions that black people gave to this country, because these folks really just put up a whole system to tell us we wasn't shit. We got to educate each other. That's why, before they confiscated woke and turned it into whatever the hell it is now, the expression was each one teach one. That was about as common as it takes a village to raise a child. We losing all of those types of things. We're losing the wisdom of our culture because we got too many of us that want to integrate and hold hands with people that'll never accept us as human. And that's just sad. We pull away from each other to try to embrace them, and they ain't gonna never embrace you. You will never be seen as the same type of human as they feel that they are. And that's just a reality that we don't have enough conversation about, or we don't want to discuss.
Well, I don't think we integrate like that. I think it's a class system that we got right now. It's not a black and white thing. There's a class system that we have right now where it's about finance. That's what we're dealing with right now. And certain communities have more resources. People attract those because there's less pressure on your family. Your food is better, your schools are better, crime is better. It's a plethora of things, but it's a class thing. I don't think it's a race thing. And as far as like us integrating with white folks and our thought pattern, that has more to do with systematic oppression of all these years. And even the images that we get right now today of what a man is, what a black man is. Even when you look at a black man in the movies, we don't even support black men that are doing the right stuff in movies. Forget them. Like Tyler Perry movie, his worst movie was the one he made. What a man had the little girl, the daddy, whatever the name it was. That was his worst movie that we didn't support. So it's a systematic thing that's not even just white people. It includes us because we're all being programmed by the same media. So we have to deprogram that media, and that mindset has to be eliminated. So we can't just stop with them. We have to even go into our own stuff. The whole of society has been programmed this way to think that way. And it's not just in America. When you travel to other countries, they believe these things too, because that's all they see. They're not in America. All they watch is those movies, those TV shows, the music that they're getting. It's all the same thing. Even on social media with those algorithms that are supposed to be programmed to feed you certain things, they're feeding them people certain things over and over and over again in their stream, and they think that stuff is real life, how black people act. So the programming never stops. So it's a constant thing you're battling against.
Pittsburgh T, a couple things to unpack there. First things first, right? What you just described was white supremacy, right? How they convinced the entire world that black people are the bad ones, with the history books would suggest that they are, right? That's white supremacy, right? And if black people aren't in charge of anything, right, then why do we have to take accountability for what the media is portraying?
I never said we have to take accountability. I said we have to fight against it. Like, we have to deprogram against that, even in our own community, teaching our sons, our daughters, our nephews, our nieces, having conversations about the stuff that's being portrayed that is not true. Like, men can actually be in the household with a woman and be loving her and be with her faithfully and not have all these problems. You don't have to have drama going on.
Yeah,
like, we can actually talk about that. No,
They
it's
the
not
number
just
one
white
divorce.
people.
They the number one divorce group. So what I'm not gonna do is put
No,
black
no.
people on
But I'm
trial.
talking about no, I'm not putting us on trial. What I'm saying is that we have to recognize the stuff that we're being fed. The reason why we're being fed and the consumption of it is a problem everywhere. When I leave out of this country and I go in other countries, I see them looking. It's not just here. White supremacy don't stop in America. It's everywhere because of the media. It's everywhere and it's portraying the same crap. So
Exactly.
we're fighting it
Exactly.
everywhere. So
Okay.
it's not a thing. It's not a thing where I'm saying we got to take any accountability. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we're fighting an uphill battle all the time for the same thing. We have to recognize that. So we can't the thing that we're seeing. This is the reason why we're seeing the thing that we're seeing because it's being perpetuated this way. So
By
that's
who?
the thing that by the media, the mass
Okay.
media,
So then
whichever
why
way
are
you
black
want to
people
count it.
responsible for how white
I
people
never
are
said.
portrayed?
I never said that we're responsible. Never said that, Scholar. What I'm
You
saying
said
is
we
that
got to
we have
fight.
to.
So, okay, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of a family that fought. So there's a middle class black family from Texas, that has multiple kids, but they still live in a nice neighborhood, and they made sure that their kids went to a school that wasn't run down and in the hood, right? And those are Carmelo's parents, right? And even though they worked as hard as they did, they were painted out by the media as bad parents, or where they're grifting, they're taking y'all's money and they're going to spend it. They just bought another house. They're watching them very closely, portraying them negatively. There's nothing you could do, Pittsburgh T. The accountability stuff is that argument is so old and played and tired because Tyler Perry, what he is a billionaire. Tyler Perry employs a lot of black people. I'm no longer gonna do this because they don't do this to Elon Musk. They don't do this to Donald Trump. In this interview, he said, y'all are freer now than y'all ever. There's nothing that y'all can't do that I can't do, except for become the president of the United States with no experience or become a flight attendant. I know y'all seen this story in the news, become a flight attendant with no credentials whatsoever. And the ironic part about that is Charlie Kirk, before he died, said a statement, if I walked inside of a plane and I seen a black person there, I kind of would get scared. Like, what are your credentials? And here we have a Canadian pilot who had no credentials. His only credential was whiteness, right? Became a pilot. Like, you can't make this up. Like, Barack Obama with Donald Trump's credentials could have never became president, ever. That's what white
Barack Obama do half the shit that Trump is doing. His ass been impeached. He'd have been gone. Could you imagine if Obama did half the shit that Trump has currently done in his presidency? Oh my God. These people would be losing their damn mind. I just don't, I don't, I'm not telling black folks to play fucking respectability politics with white folks. Be who you are. Fuck them. If they uncomfortable around you, that's a personal problem. That's not your problem. That's their fucking problem. If they want to fuck with you, then defend yourself. Period.
But we don't even have to tell black people to do that because we already do that. I was talking about the media. We already segregate by ethnicity. They don't come to our parties. They not at our cookout, our barbecues, our family gatherings. We already do that. Like, that's not even a real thing. The only time we really congregate, most of us, is at work where we have to be there. And we're being cordial and trying to work, and that's what we're doing. Outside of that, most of us ain't hanging out with them. We're not going to their weddings. We're not going to their parties, their bar mitzvahs, or whatever other functions they got. We not there. We're not hanging out with them people like that. So I don't even know why we doing this thing that we do. We act like black people are trying to get in and break in with them because we marry at the rate of black men and black women at a high rate. It's like 70, 80% or something. So we're not even doing that thing. I don't even know where that narrative came from. It's not what we do. We don't do that at no large clip. It's always going to be a small percentage of people who think that way, but it's a small percentage of us.
Then Real presented to us that is falling for this white supremacist bullshit. And I could say something, but it'll start some shit, so I'll keep my mouth closed.
Well, I'm going to show this clip, and we'll break down what he said in the interview, the white supremacist talking points, the dog whistles, right? So here we go.
You drunk bitch. What'd you do to that boy to make him stab somebody? My God, what kind of mother are you?
Stop. Now, how he say all that when he used to beat the shit out of his wife? Why he ain't got no family? Why come ain't nobody talking about the broken home that this man created, but talking shit about these folk who raised a child that had a great GPA, was captain of the teams that he was on, and worked 2 jobs while he was doing it? Why are they being treated like they some kind of second class citizen, and his ass done beat the hell out of his wife? Ain't no telling what he did with them boys for them to break both of his damn arms. Nobody's talking about any of this shit though. Why is that?
That's all internet gossip. Ain't none of that thing. That's all internet gossip, which is all that stuff about him getting beat up, him beating up his kids beating him up. Ain't none of that stuff being confirmed.
Well,
No more than Carmelo being
hold on.
suspended.
You're right, but we can't deduct some facts from it. He's not with the mom anymore, so that is a broken home. So the boys do
Yeah,
come from
but it's
broken
not
home.
like, but some of this stuff, like Carmelo being suspended, that's gossip. Like a lot of this stuff is gossip. Like that's what I was saying earlier. A lot of stuff is gossipy stuff that we don't know up from down with that stuff. We don't know where it came from.
What
There's
else
no
is crazy?
documentation of it. That's none of that stuff can be documented. We can put like you can push out a story and it can catch fire tomorrow, completely with no basis at all. And people just gonna keep repeating it, and it becomes a fact after a while. Like I don't know that none of that stuff can be fact without actual proof. And now with AI, you got to have a source behind the videos and the pictures to make sure ain't none of this stuff just concocted. So without any sources, all of this stuff that we're hearing about these kids, most of it, I would assume it's just gossip, because there's no proof of any of it.
You know what's also interesting, Scholar, is that the judge put the gag order in place, right? But while the judge got the gag order in place, that damn Sarah Fields woman, I believe this man paid her to do the shit that she was doing. They was running a misinformation and smear campaign against Carmelo Anthony through that bitch. While his parents is sitting over there, oh, we just gonna abide by everything they tell us. This man is doing everything he can to do whatever the hell he wanna do. And this is what I'm talking about. Black folk want to sit up here and play fair in a system that is not gonna be fair to them. Your child has been railroaded because your ass wanted to sit there and know what you looking at. You are looking at these people. Fuck your child over, and you just sit up. Well, if I just be a good Negro, everything gonna work out like it should. Get the fuck out of here. Don't never believe that shit. You see that shit look foul, then you need to call foul. Like, I ain't trying to hear none of that shit. This man is a horrible human being. Then he just sat up here and called that lady a drunk bitch. Don't neither one of his parents drink. Then after he do this shit, they turn around and say, oh no, this video AI. Get the fuck out of here. Since when AI been that good? AI is not that good.
Yeah, it is. But it's a real video though. So that's
No,
not true.
the fuck it's not. AI is not that good. AI still fuck up facial features. It fucks up fingers. AI is not that good. This motherfucker is sitting up here saying all this shit out his mouth. They folks make all kind of excuses for white folk and they piss poor fucking behavior instead of just calling the shit out. Now, if that was a black man that sat up there, would nobody come out with no excuse for his ass? I'm so sick of this goddamn shit.
Well, this ain't AI. This the actual dad saying this stuff. So it's not AI. That's first and foremost. Like, and then you got to consider if you're gonna say that one kid got railroaded, one kid got murdered, and the kid that got murdered is his son. So we can't be dismissive and say
I don't give a fuck about no bully losing their life.
The man, yeah, I know you don't care, but that's his son, so he cares.
If you
that's
bully,
good for you.
You get what you
get. So hold on. What does him Ken have to
That's what they supposed to do. That's
why
part of the boy.
Why he calling the mama
teenage
a drunk
boys
beat?
fight all the time. They get jumped. They fight each other. They fight on the last day of school. They fight over stupid stuff. Sometimes the girl, sometimes the way he looks and the way he talk. Boys do that. Shouldn't be nobody losing their life.
I think he just don't care.
No, he can't hear me.
No, you don't care about the boy. The boy being going nobody here, and his dad sitting there talking about it. You don't care about that. You want me to care about his significant stuff.
You need to drop down because you can't hear Scholar.
Yeah, Pittsburgh T reacted. He will react to what I was saying. He definitely can't hear me. But what I
I
was
get
going
you now. There you go. There you go. I
what,
get you.
what I was going to say is
I told you.
what I was going to say is this: what him calling the woman a B word got to do with anything that got to do with his son? What Jim Crow and all this other stuff that he talked about civil rights? What does any of that have to do with it? It has nothing to do with it. He understands he's the mascot for white supremacy. So shout out to the dealership. He said expecting equality from your enemy in their system is like expecting Epstein to babysit your children. Stop expecting love from the I don't know what that word is, bro. Cahards, brother.
Kazar.
Kazars,
Kazar.
Kazars, brother. I guess that's a religious word.
No, that's a word for the small hat people.
Oh, the bro. Oh, bro, hold up! Don't have me saying that over here. I'm gonna have a knock on the door the first thing when I wake up. But let's play a little bit more of this video.
Hey, Kevin Hayes, you fucking liar. Day after it happened, how many lies did you sit and type up on your keyboard, you big keyboard warrior? You a big tough man. You still live in Baton Rouge? Remember you said you'd come to Frisco, buddy? You were supposed to find me. I told you we could sit down and talk. That's all you do. Talk, Mr. Squeaky Clean. You're the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture. You people hang.
Your culture, you people. Boy, it's
Yeah,
like I
who is he
said,
talking to?
they not racist, but I think he talking to somebody in the comments section that told him something. But you people, that's nothing to brag on. You're the only person in your family without a record. You people, it's like, bro. So you're not racist, but you like I said earlier, they always find the right words. They not
Yeah,
racist, but
like that's like most of my family ain't got no record. So that's crazy.
somebody
Like like all black people go to jail. Like what are you talking about?
black fatigue, the black fatigue. Y'all so stupid. Y'all don't understand. Black
Black
fatigue.
fatigue is crazy because you know that just goes to
They
it.
don't know the origin.
That just goes to solidify the thing that they said that most of these boys can't read and shit because black fatigue is a book
It's a
and
book,
it was
and it
a
was
term created
yes,
by
ma'am.
a black author
Yes,
for
ma'am.
the fatigue, the exhaustion that black folk have to deal with dealing with this crazy shit like this and the shit y'all doing in this chat. That's what black fatigue is.
And then they live up to
Perhaps
it,
y'all
Queen.
should go educate yourself. Y'all like to run around and call people dumb and stupid and talk about low IQs and all of this shit. You motherfuckers don't read a goddamn thing and always running y'all mouths.
And the idea that they would live up to it, right? Live up to what the black fatigue book meant, and then show up and say how that they're tired of everybody else. This
It
person
is
said,
crazy. Just like they take everything of ours and repackage it to something like woke. Woke ain't had shit to do with whatever the hell these white folks are defining it as and that. We can't even keep our own shit.
somebody said they from Tennessee and they're a white person, and they can concur that this person is absolute racist in their opinion. That's what I mean. So out of like what? That's a white person. So out of what? Like I'd say we probably had about 400 or 500 white comments tonight. That was one white person that would at least admit the obvious, and that's what I was trying to tell Candy. It's not enough for them. It's not
That's
enough for
what
them to
I'm
lower your
saying.
guards.
Because
But it
you
don't
gonna
matter
either
though.
have
So
some that's gonna stir up because what they know is to stand up for what is right and to stand up for humanity is a death sentence for them, just like it is for everybody else. So the ones that know better and won't say nothing or will be complicit with so-called white supremacy, white domination, white inferiority, white insecurity, whatever the hell you want to call it, they scared. They like, shit, I'm gonna join these motherfuckers over here because hell, I don't want them to burn me up on a cross. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't think it matters because we're not getting hung by no crosses. Ain't no them white people on the internet that for the most part, people that impact you, we deal with them every day because we have to. And I don't see like black people really doing no crazy stuff besides workplace stuff. People doing goofy stuff at work, trying to achieve favor at work. That's where most of a lot of the problems that people have with black people and cooning and all that stuff that we actually physically see. That's where it mostly happens that we can actually get affected at. And those people are going to do what they do. But for the large portion of us, We just don't. Some people just have morality and they're just not gonna do certain things. That don't mean that they down with no white supremacy. They just don't. They don't authorize certain behavior from certain people, no matter who it is. It ain't got nothing to do with me trying to be with no white people or none of that. Because ain't nobody hanging out with no white folks. Black people, for the large parts, we don't mix like that. We just don't. And then white, as a phrase itself, the phraseology, it's not just white. Most Hispanics consider themselves white. Like some of the Asians consider themselves white. So it's a blended term. But black people don't. I don't think black people actually hang out and go out of their way outside of work to be finding no white people and doing anything but white people like that.
We don't have to. They find
Brother,
us. Like right now.
exactly. Like right now, ain't nobody went looking for them. They brought their ass over here. Anyway, Scholar, did you see that cross on fire in Chicago?
Nah, I ain't see it.
Yeah. So there was the cross burning in the park against a tree,
Damn.
and they ended up pulling surveillance to see who may have done it or whatever, and they saw a Asian boy running away from the state. So he's a suspect in um I forgot what they was gonna charge him with. They said they didn't have enough information right now to call it a hate crime. But yeah, the Asian
Somebody.
motherfucker.
You know what's crazy? Somebody said that Carmelo, and it's so funny because this is what they said, Queen. This ain't about race. Y'all making it about race. It ain't about race. And then they absolutely said in my comment section that he should be charged on top of his additional 35 years with a hate crime. Can't make this up.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. I think it ain't about race. Taylor Scholar said that you can sign them folks out after, like, you give them a warning, and if they don't stop, you can time them out. I like to play with the trolls when I'm in the shed. I time them out for like 10 seconds, 1 minute, 3 minutes, forever. Change it, just fuck with them.
Yeah,
They
because
hear the troll them back. You got to rent.
Yeah, you put them in the position of looking through the looking glass and not taking their opinion away. You know, they think their opinion really important. And you take that away, you take their superpower, and you make them tiptoe right over here. So they, got to go create another account or do whatever they got to do, leave. Because nobody really asked them to be here with them stupid ass ideas any damn way. But yeah, I agree, Queen. I agree. Like it's so crazy that nothing is about race, but everything is about race. They can always find the racism in everything. But
They
tell
just don't
everybody
want
else.
us talking about race. They want us to accept the mistreatment that they give us because they don't value our humanity. And then they want to use it whenever they get ready to use it. And fuck that. Every time I see it, I'm gonna call it out. Because what I ain't trying to do is where they trying to take us, which is backwards. I'm not trying to have my children live through no situation where they need to be resegregated or any fuck all of that. Then nobody die and get their heads cracked open and all that other shit for this type of bullshit these people sitting up here trying to pull. I'm not gonna be quiet. And they don't get to tell us that we don't get to talk about this shit that we see. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we need to be quiet. I think when we see it, we call a thing and keep it pushing. Because the reality is, we got to live in the shit regardless of whether they stop this shit or not. So why the fuck we got to sit here and suffer in silence? Bullshit. For what?
But we're not
Why
suffering.
we got to do
Yeah,
that?
but we're not suffering, one. And number two, the incident itself wasn't racist. It's everything that came after that. Them two boys, that whatever that happened with them, that wasn't a racist. That had nothing to do with race, the incident itself. Everything that happened after had something to do with race. The way the court proceeded it, the way the media covered it, all that stuff had something to do with race. The incident itself had nothing to do with race.
You think if Carmelo was white, they would have approached him the same and treated this the same?
Yes, he still was in a spot he shouldn't have been in.
You really believe that?
Like according to, and it wasn't just, yes, because if it was just those two boys, if it was just the two twins, let me just say this, if it was just the two boys, the two twins, the two white boys that just walked up to him and said that, you would have a point. But that's not what happened. No, that's not what happened. Multiple kids, and they weren't all white, that said the same thing. So that ain't, them approaching him had nothing to do with his color. I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Even though one of the people who was with him said that they did not even known him and they wasn't cool with him, and then pictures showed otherwise. So that has not, like, ain't no fishing is there. Like, come on, man. I thought we was the internet was the place of conspiracy. Now all of a sudden they don't believe in no conspiracy. But when we showed Casey Allison, and we showed that case, like Queen said, it got dead silence in the chat. Dead silence. Nobody wanted to say anything. They just ignored it, acted like I didn't show what I showed, and either left the chat or just deflected to what they wanted to talk about initially, right? So that's what happened because they know it was about race. They know this. What is a Karen, Pittsburgh T? A Karen is a white person that feels like they're in a privileged position to call a law on everybody for doing anything to them that is not against the law. Right, because they feel like they're in a privileged position because they understand what white supremacy is. Right, so that little boy grew up in America. From my knowledge, he's not from Canada. He's not from anywhere else. So he grew up in America. He understands how white privilege functions and white supremacy functions.
So what about the black kids that ran up on him? So what about the black kids that asked him to leave? What they grew up on? Because it was black kids on that. Remember, he on the other team. It's other kids that's there that's asking him to leave too, and they're black. They're telling him to leave. What about them kids?
Well, Bertie,
he's the only kid that put his hands on him, but the other kids was asking him to leave too.
What you saying right now is news to me because I only know what was in the courts, and they were real secretive about that. I don't know anything about no black kids. All I know is the two twins that approached him. One of them is dead, and they were white. So I don't know anything else about any other kids or any of that stuff. So
you can read the transcripts. There's other kids that asked him to leave. There's other kids asking him to leave. It's on the transcripts.
The transcripts do not indicate race.
I could only focus on facts, objectable facts, and objectable facts.
That's what they testified to.
I don't know that. I didn't consume that. I could only present what I consumed. There were two twins that were white. They approached him. One of them is dead and one is alive. Right. And they were emboldened by the same thing that Karens are emboldened by, which is their superpower, their superpower, which they think it is, which is white supremacy. I don't know why that's I've seen videos of white people go and get fucked up really bad by animals because they think that white supremacy and whiteness goes into nature. Right. Like I even seen a video of somebody was like, a black person was like, in the name of who? That dude was about to say in the name of Jesus, and he was a cop. Instead of saying in the name of the state or whatever, he was about to say in the name of Jesus. And it all goes down to white supremacy is coupled and tied with religion.
That's not a white school, but that's not a white school that them two white boys came from. That's not an all-white school. That track team was not comprised of all white kids. It was black kids that was actually on there saying the same thing. So those two, if only those two white kids were the only ones that said something, you would have a point of race. That's not what happened. The testimony that was given, when you read the transcripts, believe it or not, it's other kids that told him to leave. Now the difference is the white kid is the only one that put his hands on him. But him being approached and them saying something to him, it wasn't just the white kid. So it had we don't even know who started saying anything. Who's the first person to say something to him? We don't know that. We do know that the white kid is the one that put his hands on him. So we can't say that they only approached him because he's white. If that's the case, the black kids only approached the other black kid because he's black. That don't make any sense. We know that's not true. So you can't put race in something that ain't there.
Pittsburgh T. Were they from America?
All these kids are from America, even the black kids on the other team.
Okay. So let's start there. You would acknowledge, Pittsburgh T, that white supremacy is a real thing, right?
Yes.
So you acknowledge that white supremacy is a real thing, and these kids were grown up with depictions of all the positive white imagery that they accept, and all the reinforcements, the dog whistles, and all those things. And you don't think they were emboldened by race whatsoever. You think that even though white kids are subjected to this, that they still grow up normalized and being kids and stuff. They don't carry that into adulthood.
Well,
they just learn
I'll tell you. No, but what we know is that one kid decided to put his hands on it. He was emboldened by his coach to step up. Now, what that means, who knows? But that he might have took that as that's his duty to do the stupid stuff that he did. But we know other kids were asking him to leave over a series of time. And the amount of time that they were asking him to leave, that's where the discrepancy goes. It goes from as far as 1 minute all the way up to 10 minutes. Now, how long in between? Who knows? Because the testimony is all over the place. But we do know multiple people testified that they asked him to leave. Multiple kids. Nobody put their hands on himself for that one white kid. So I don't think race had anything to do with that.
And why did he put his hands on him?
Because the coach, I don't know. Now I have to be assuming stuff. All I know is that that kid,
and guess what? And guess what? So we're in the right now. We're in the speculatory part of this because they not releasing no footage, and we basically like gotta
He
go
put
with
his
intent.
hands on him not only because black was a factor. I don't think it was the predominant reason. He put his hands on him because he was smaller than him and he felt like he could bully his ass. That's why he put his hands on him. He thought he was gonna be scared of his ass when he was giving him all them threats. And it pissed him off that they make him scared enough to get up and run away. That's why he did it. Like, it's not hard to figure out. The child didn't have no motherfucking impulse control. He didn't have a parent, a father to teach his ass that you don't put your hands on people just because you don't like what they do. He didn't have nobody to tell him you aren't the authority over anyone. Go get an adult. He didn't have that. He felt like he white, he big, he can do whatever the fuck he want to do because he got the power in that fucking moment. And now, I wonder if he think that in hell. You know what I'm
Queen,
saying?
I
I'm
seen a
just
video.
wondering.
I seen a video of Queen one time where it was a black family in a HOA place, right? A place with HOA, and they were swimming. And you know how they do? They don't say white only anymore. They do it more covert. You got to have swimming shorts, right? So you can't wear regular shorts or any of that stuff, right? And they told the black people to leave, even though they stayed out there, and the black people were mad because they paying these HOA fees. Would you believe that the white lifeguard there started like trying to arrest people with no handcuffs? He out there just wilding. He ain't deputized or anything, but he felt like he was deputized by white privilege. Like that's crazy to me. Like something that was so small, like them with their shorts, and they didn't want to leave because they stayed out there in the community. And they're paying these high ass HOA fees. He felt like he was deputized. That there's no difference between that. And I know that you might feel like I'm taking a big leap. There's no difference between that and Rosewood. White people getting deputized to come and burn down Rosewood because they did not like black people having success there. It was about white supremacy. It had nothing to do with this whole case with this guy. This guy is the mascot for white supremacy. He's gonna be the face for probably like another month or two until this fizzles out and he becomes a George Zimmerman.
Have you seen it's a content creator. His entire content is him sitting outside to go fish. So he lives in a house, and in the housing section, I'm guessing it's a gated community. And in there, they have a pond that they can fish in. So he's out there fishing, and every time he goes to go fish, some white person stops their car when they see his black ass, roll back, and get out their car and go over there asking him if he lived there, what his ID is, and just fucking with the man. Like, as if he ain't got no, because he black, he can't be there. Like, don't nobody got to be dealing with that type of shit. Fuck them people.
But that ain't this though. Like that, like we're injecting race
How
into
did
something
that
that we
shit
have.
tie in
Like
together?
we
The fact that you trying to compartmentalize shit, like this don't end up being
what I was
one
saying.
experience.
Okay, cool. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that ain't this. I'm talking about the incident itself. We're interjecting race into something that there's no evidence of any race thing that happened. None. Zero. Ain't even close. No kid said nothing. No kid interjected anything that was said racial. Ain't no race stuff ever happened. All that stuff happened afterwards when people start doing money grabs. And that always happens with cases like this, when it's black and white and it's clear cut like that, when there's two different race groups. People can start making money off of this stuff. That's always going to happen in the media. That's never going to stop. But these kids themselves, that didn't happen. It's the self-defense thing is more attainable and what the case should be about. And even that kind of falls weak on the shoulders because it was a push. It wasn't like a push ain't. It's kind of hard to get all the way to a knife, knowing that you ain't supposed to have no knife in no school or no school event and do that kind of stuff. And if they have those tools there, that's fine, but you still can't pick that up as a weapon and use that on somebody. That's like somebody being on the stage and they have something to tighten the screw and you pick up a screwdriver at school and judge somebody. That's still wrong. Like you can't do that kind of stuff because that's not, we taking people's life from just somebody touching you. That's real like barbaric and unintelligent to be doing that kind of stuff and pushing that. That's barbaric, bro.
More barbaric than punching somebody.
Come on,
more barbaric
bro.
than punching.
So I touch you So I push you and you stab me and kill me, and I'm just supposed to, everybody's
You
supposed to be
push
cool
me,
with
I'm
that
gonna
because you
push
got a
some hot
push.
lead in you.
Pittsburgh T, why do
That's
we
what
have
I'm
to
gonna
play?
do.
Kids,
Why do we have to
that's
play?
ridiculous, bro.
Why do we have to
Push
play
me
the
if you want
game?
to.
Why do we have to play
We
this
know what
game?
happened.
Why do we have to play this game of like the guy not being the aggressor? He approached him, right? He's in the vicinity. The reason why he was able to stab him in arm reach is because he approached him. The reason why he
Okay, cool.
got stabbed is because he assaulted him, right? You
That
don't
don't
get to
give you the
then
right to
become a
stab
victim.
somebody, bro. You
Pittsburgh
can't, he
T,
is a victim.
Pittsburgh
He is
T,
a victim.
Pittsburgh T, victim of
He's
what?
gone.
Victim of what?
He's being stabbed in the chest and no longer here. He's gone. He's a victim. He's
Pittsburgh T,
murdered. That's
Pittsburgh
a
T,
murder. That's a murder.
Pittsburgh T. If he was
Now
not,
you can say it's a
it was
justified murder, but it's a murder.
preventable. It was preventable. Had he not approached him, he wouldn't have not lost his life.
You can't. No, you can't do that.
Had he not
You can't
struck
limit
him,
the
he
person.
wouldn't. We wouldn't even known he had a tool. Pittsburgh T, you talk about how it was illegal to have the knife, and why did he have a knife? It's also illegal
I
to
say it's
assault somebody.
illegal.
But hold
No,
on.
I never said it's illegal. You're not supposed to have it in school. I never said it's illegal because school can't make
You're not supposed to assault people at school
You're not
too,
supposed
right?
to have. You're not, but you're not supposed to lose your life behind assaulting people. People assault
Don't
people at school
assault
all day
people.
long.
It's that simple. Do not assault
you can't
people.
take nobody's life like that, bro. Kids.
No.
So do we want kids taking knives to school? We want all kids taking knives to school. We want all the kids to take knives to school. And if somebody touched them, they got the right to
Stop
jump.
assaulting people. Stop assaulting people.
They don't have no kids left to charge rate. No kids going to watch survive.
You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting? When Trayvon Martin happened, we had to hear constantly from the others, right, about how Trayvon Martin was assaulting George Zimmerman. Even though George Zimmerman did not listen to 911, even though he engaged with them, even though he ignored all the stuff. Now, listen, it's really crazy how selective they are with listening, right? He didn't listen to 911, which is the chain of command. They're supposed to be the people to tell you what to do. He went, approached Trayvon Martin, and somehow Trayvon Martin loses his life and he's not allowed to be a victim. But we got to look at Metcalf and make him a victim, even though he's the person that initiated.
He's murdered.
Victim
Bro, he's
of
murdered.
what? Victim
Murder.
of what?
He's not here. Murder.
No, he's not
It's
a victim.
murder.
He's not a victim to me.
When you take somebody's life, you're a murderer. Now, it could be justified murder, but it's still murder. He's a victim.
No, he's not a victim to me. You talking about a victim according to the justice system. That's different. He's not a victim to me. He caused his own death.
Yes,
Cause and affect his life.
He's excused from not going to go get an adult. He's excused for putting his hands on that other child. None of that matters because this child allegedly stabbed him. So, what is also interesting, the reason why they don't show the so-called knife, it wasn't a knife, it was a Boy Scout tool. One of those little Boy Scout tools that he used. Also, it wasn't all the way open, which indicates, and all the kids testified. Now, this was another consistency that they had. Nobody saw Carmelo stick him. So, if he got stuck when he tried to grab or push him, and nobody seen Carmelo stick him, then what happened?
So he stabbed himself? Must stab himself.
Yeah, because he pulled the he was pulling. Yep, he sure did because he was trying to. If he had kept his hands to himself, he wouldn't have fell on top of that knife because he was standing up over that boy on the bleachers. He had to walk down the bleachers to get to him, and he was sitting there. He was already taller than him. He was standing on bleachers that was higher than where Carmelo was sitting, and so when he bent down to put his hands on him, before he could even get the knife out and good, he got his own self stuck. You fuck around, you find out. He paid with his life because he put his hands on somebody and he did not go get an adult. Is it unfortunate? Yes, but this is why we teach our children to keep their hands to themselves and to go get an adult when they feel like another child is doing something they ain't got no business.
Well, we can't look. This is the problem with this. We paying him as a victim and him telling people to fuck around and find out. So he tough and a victim at the same time. You can't be both. Like where I come from, and most people, most men, if you have a weapon, you're a coward. Right? So the idea that you can be all tough and be stabbing people at the same time, that don't make sense. But with this logic, and we keep perpetuating this, it won't be no kids in school. touch them, they'll just jug them, and we won't have no kids pretty soon anyway. So this is going to be futile if this the attitude that we want to keep. If you could just touch somebody, that justifies you stabbing them. That's an insane concept to be kind of pushing.
You know what I love, Pittsburgh T? I love when an argument collapses from within, right? So what I do know, Pittsburgh T, is you kind of lean red pill. That's why I call you red pill T, right? Whenever they have conversations, men with women online, they say that women are emboldened by the internet and women are illogical, they're irrational, and all this other stuff, right? And they say that women don't understand that if you insult a man, you have to be prepared to die, because that's what men do in combat. And here we have a situation where a man lost his life, and all of a sudden we forget about all of that stuff, and this guy is a victim, and oh my gosh, you can't bring knives to school. There's not going to be any kids left. That doesn't make any sense, Pittsburgh T. Listen, I'm not advocating. I don't get to speak for Carmelo Anthony. I'm speaking for myself. So you have court of public opinion, you have actual court. He was guilty in actual court. Court of public opinion, we all understand. You do not go out there. And I learned this because they taught me this with Trayvon Martin. You do not, even though he didn't do anything, right? But they kind of said he brought it on himself from the circumstances, right? Okay, Trayvon Martin around the same age. Y'all don't have no issues with talking the way y'all were talking about that baby, because that's what he was. So I'm going to take that logic and I'm going to apply it to this. He's not a victim. He caused that for himself. He effed around and found out. Right. So, I mean, whatever happened, cause and effect. We understand all these things. I have no sympathy for him.
Turnique, what's her name in the chat? She asked a question. Turnique 3379. The video is not going to come out because the Attorney General in Texas told the school it would be unlawful for them to give copies. So maybe after the appeals process is gone through, which could take years, we might get to see that video. But as for right now, the Attorney General in Texas has blocked the ability.
Yeah, they're gonna hide behind the fact that they're juveniles. They're not gonna let it out.
The video, which leads me to believe that this whole shit is a conspiracy. I believe all of them people was shaking hands with each other and making deals with each other to railroad this boy, and now it done got as far as the AG. Couple that with everything else that's going on in this country, we living in some very interesting, to say the least, times right now. Especially if you.
Yeah, but America always been racist. America ain't never not been racist. As long as in my 50 years of living, America ain't never not been racist. It's always been the same way for black people. That's always been. It ain't no up and down of like things
I ain't
got
never
better.
had no
It ain't never got better.
on me.
Yeah, no, but it's always been racist.
I ain't never had to pay no post. Scholar, did you hear about that?
So it ain't racist now. Way I was talking, man. America always been racist. It's never not been racist. We can look up now with the hiring data with big tech, and we see we less than 5% of the people that they hire. We see like it's so many disparities in this nation. This nation ain't never been equal and fair to black people. So to act like all of a sudden now it just got bad for black people, that don't make no sense. It's always been that way for black people. And that's just not simply what happened. I just don't think that some of this stuff that we do with this stuff, it's just not right. Because we focus in on stuff that we should not be focusing in on, and we bring race into things that we shouldn't. And the things we actually should fight about with this racial disparity, we quiet as a church mouse. We don't push that stuff. We push this stuff on. And we keep saying, fuck around and find out. So we pushing all this aggression and all this foolishness with kids. And if a kid do this, like we tell people to do stuff all the time. But if you can do whatever you want, if you go ahead and take somebody's life, you're going to have to face the justice system. We know the justice system is inequal. That's what you're going to have to go into. There's no way that you take somebody's life and you don't go in the justice system. That never happens. And we know when you get in that system, we know how unfair it is. Our kids, our young men are all doing this. Our young women too are doing this thing, getting themselves into the situation, and they're wondering what's happening. A lot of this stuff, we are pushing a lot of aggression on people for no fucking reason. You should walk away from stuff. You should defuse situations. You don't have to be the toughest, the biggest, the baddest, none of that shit. That doesn't have to be what you got to be as a young person. Stop falling for this nonsense that these people are pushing. That's going to get you in a lot of situations that's not going to be favorable towards you with none of this stuff. Because when you sitting there in the jail by yourself, you're going to wish you would have never made some of these choices, because a lot of this stuff, it ain't even that serious. It's just that we're programming people to believe that they have to do this thing when they don't actually have to do this thing in our society.
So, Scholar, did you see that they trying to bring back poll taxes and
Nah,
literacy tests?
I mean they
So
should. That's going to affect them negatively. They
it's
should.
in Tennessee. No, look, in Tennessee, they is trying to propose a thing that in order to get a driver's license, you have to show
I
proof of
did see that.
citizenship.
I did see that, and you have to be speak English. I did see that shit.
Yes, yes, and you have to prove that you can speak whatever they will define as quality English.
Yeah, I
That's
did
a
see.
literacy test. You need your vote, your ID to go vote, or you might need it if they end up passing this save act. So all of this little weird shit that they doing, in the macro society, is trickling down in the micro society. And to sit up here and say that there was no racial element to this little boy bullying this other boy is you got to be a damn fool or choosing to be blind to the reality of what the fuck going on, especially when this motherfucker daddy sitting up here doing this shit here. And this shit right here. And what he fails to realize is this whole mentality and this fucking mindset right here is the reason why his son is in the fucking ground.
Okay, let's play some more of this video.
Hang your hat on the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Let me make one up. Y'all can let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral.
Let me make something racist up so I can go viral. Sir, this is not a spur of the moment thing. It was premeditated. You definitely thought this up before you went live, and you're definitely riding this 5 minutes of fame to the end. I mean, it is what it is. Let's not pretend like this was spur of the moment. You conjured this up way before you went live. But here we go.
Viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about Watermelon Felon? How's that one strike you? So don't complain when shit doesn't go your
Watermelon Felon. That's crazy work. Hold up, Pittsburgh T. What were you saying again? It's not about race. He's from the same place where his son got unalived at, Pittsburgh T. He's
That don't have
the
nothing to do with
son's
the
father.
incident.
So his beliefs goes into the son, right? Because children are
No, it
vessels.
don't. No,
Are you
no, bro.
serious, Pittsburgh T?
Listen. Like, what we doing is, look, this is what we doing. We going through what the parents did. Now, we seen people do this stuff. Like, we seen people do this with Trayvon Martin, where they went through the parents. We seen people do this with the kid that y'all talking about. We seen people go through his family and say what they is doing, what money that they perceive that they got when they moved and all. We seen people go through the parents. I think that's wrong. This incident itself didn't have nothing to do with none of these parents. They wasn't there. They didn't have nothing to do with it. It didn't have nothing to do with no race. When you look at the testimony, that wasn't even their defense. If it had something to do with race, why didn't they use that as defense? Why didn't they say that in court? They didn't say none of that. None of the kids testified to that. None of the coaches testified to that. His defense didn't use any of that. So it didn't have nothing to do with race, the incident itself.
So, Scholar, did you see where they paid for expert witnesses to get on the stand on Carmelo's behalf, and his attorney didn't call them up? Did you see that? So, if the family paid for things to be done and they weren't done, then I don't understand how you sit up here and say it don't got nothing to do with race. That's nonsensical. Also, I am from Dallas, Texas. Frisco is a suburb of Dallas, Texas. It is a predominantly white area. He went to school with predominantly white people. Now, it may have been a few biracial children there. It's not going to take away the fact that that is a white dominated place that also used to be a sundown town. Race is very much involved in this case, which is how this boy was able to get railroaded. Because while it's growing, it's still I ain't gonna say it's small anymore. It's probably about a medium sized city at this point. And it's still close knit enough for all these people to make backdoor deals and shake hands and shit. Like to sit up here and say that there is no racial factor to this case is to play dumb. And like I said, some people just want to be blind to how deep the racism steeps in this goddamn country. Because there is no fucking way any regular child, any child with any fucking sense, we can talk about how, oh, he shouldn't have had the knife, the tool, or whatever the hell it is he had. But we can't say that this boy didn't have no business putting his hands on somebody else's child. We can't talk about how this child should have went and gotten an adult. Nobody is talking about these things. Oh, because he dead? He's dead because of these things. Perhaps if he would have gotten an adult, and perhaps if he would have kept his hands off of somebody else's child, he might still be alive. Or he wouldn't have died that way, because I'm a firm believer in you. When it's your time to go, you going. So either way it go, he wouldn't have died by allegedly being stuck by no knife or tool or whatever the hell it was. He should have kept his hands to himself. Ain't no getting around that. He has to hold accountability for his death, just like Carmelo has to hold accountability for having that weapon. He don't get to get out scot-free because he lost his life. You lost your life because you couldn't keep your hands to yourself and you thought you was an authority where you didn't have none. That's why you lost your life. And we can say both things are true. We can't just, oh no, we on excuse and dismiss this shit that he did wrong because he ended up dead. No, he ended up dead because of the shit he did wrong. Carmelo ended up behind bars and his name is Carmelo. Just like Austin has a name, Carmelo has a name as well. Carmelo ended up behind bars because he had a tool or a weapon that was prohibited from the school or school premises. So both of them have things that they could have done differently. But only one of those resulted in somebody no longer being able to see the light of day.
Let me say this. Right. What I do know about Texas law is a lot of times people get into car crashes and they unalive people all the time in Texas, drunk driving. Right. It's like people forget that alcohol is a drug. Right. Like they'll do a Dare commercial about marijuana and the gateway drug, and then show a Coors Light commercial right after. Right. But when people unalive people during car crashes, they be getting manslaughter in Texas. Right. So I want y'all to pull out your tablet to the illiterate people, because I know you're going to have to misspell it and then go over what I'm telling y'all. So I'm going to talk really slow, right? I might even repeat myself sometimes, right? So in Texas, somebody crashes, they have to prove the culpable state, right? Intentionally, knowingly, recklessly, criminal negligence, right? The reason why they get criminal negligence is because drinking and driving, they ought to know better, but they cannot prove, right, culpable state because they're intoxicated, right? So that's why a lot of times they will destroy families and get away with it. And that is just clear cut murder right there, right? Like, you should know when you get in the car and you drink, your driving skills are not going to be what they're supposed to be, right? You ought to have known. Criminal negligence. The defense team was so horrible. Not only did they not bring up his medical condition, but the fact that when Queen keeps saying tool, this is what she's saying. So according to Texas Penal Code, 5.5 inches is a knife, right? Anything up under that is just like a tool, like Boy Scout knife, hunting tool, whatever the case may be, right? They didn't even point out the fact of that. They let the prosecution keep saying knife. They didn't even correct them and say it's a tool. Like, they just dropped the ball all the way around, like, this whole thing. Like this is definitely, like I said, where are the good conspiracy people at? They have a conspiracy about everything, even CK's assassination, Donald Trump. Like when it comes to Donald Trump and all his assassination attempts, they're quiet on it, right? Even though there's a bunch of fishiness about that, right? Anything surrounding white supremacy, it's always, there's never no conspiracies. But when there's actually good conspiracies, is if it's coupled with white supremacy, they won't even look into it. But I wanted to show this right here. Let me show this part because I got a place I want to take this.
Away when you don't do anything about it. Don't bitch because Trump's president because you didn't vote.
What does Trump have to do with this?
You're going to support someone who does something against the law. You're encouraging and saying it's okay because he's a certain color. Oh, you've got more melanin than me. Ooh, so you get more privileges, more entitlement? Because 400 years ago, someone actually sold you to us and we took you over here and put you to work. And then we had a civil war to free your ass.
So many things to unpack there, right? Let's start with the fact that they sold. When he say they sold, he's insinuating black people were responsible for slavery. You cannot make this up. They blame black people for slavery. Like, well, white people, we bought those slaves, but we would have never bought them if y'all black people hadn't tempted our pure hearts. Like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, So yeah, it's crazy. And then the idea that, and I said this last episode, they oversimplify Jim Crow and slavery and all of those things, and that's what we getting right now. Oh, black people it was a bad thing. Slavery was a bad thing, but guess what? We fought. Who was the opposing side in the fight? People who wanted to continue to own slaves, right? And then after the slaves were freed and started actually making progress, those same people that fought to own slaves, right, went and unalived political officials, the only coup d'etat ever known to man on a U.S. soil other than January 6th. But that was white people being mad about black success. And the other white people who were so good-hearted, they didn't do anything. They allowed this to happen. They were around during Jim Crow, enforcing Jim Crow. The video that I always show, matter of fact, I'm just going to show this video. Show this video real quick. This video is so crazy to me because they make the same points. Now, Queen, I'm gonna stay. I ain't gonna stay up here that much longer, Queen. I'm gonna cook on this and then we're gonna get up out of here. It's a couple points I want to make, but let me show this video.
If you go into a crowd of white strangers, there's some danger. Black strangers, there is 30 times more danger. Them's the facts.
I'm afraid of them.
Of who?
Of them, the blacks. I'm afraid to go out at night.
What harm could they do? What's wrong with them?
They're black. That's what's wrong with them. And the way I feel, black and white don't mix, and it's never gonna mix.
The Spencers moved in on New Year's Eve day a year ago. While the Spencers and their son slept, a pipe bomb exploded on the porch and smashed through the windows of the house. Attached to the bomb was a note that read, "Nigger be warned. We have time. We will get your firstborn first." It was signed, "Viva Boston, KKK." The two men indicted for the bombing were acquitted by an all-white jury.
We decided to help the Spencer family, to help any family that wants to move into a neighborhood and something goes wrong. Somebody comes, tells them to go back to Africa or some other slur. We are outraged by this. What do we want?
The right to live where we choose.
When do we want it?
Now.
They shouldn't be here.
People know that white and black people are never going to get along, so they should just stay apart, Common sense. They just shouldn't try and get together because they just don't like each other, and they never will. It's the truth.
What do you think of black people?
I really don't. Because I just think that they're always looking out to make trouble.
If the most out, you're only going to find them all over the streets and everywhere.
That's right.
They're going to be starting up with everybody, because if one starts to live in Moselle, the whole pack's coming.
Police cordoned off both ends of the block to try to keep the angry whites away.
Why the hell does he have police protection? No neighborhood. That's bullshit. That's ridiculous.
Does he have a right to live here?
No.
Why not?
Because he's black.
Biggio is one of two men charged with bombing the Spencer home. They were acquitted.
That's all we got to say. They had right on, we got white on.
Now we say we are white,
and we are proud of being white. We're sick of paying for these people. White.
Sweat.
W-O-R-K.
Sweat. Let's
Not
straight on nowhere.
A-A-I-D. White. I've had it. I came from a busted neighborhood. They don't live like human beings. They live like animals, and that's what they are, animals. And I'm not going to run anymore. This is it. My anchor is down here.
They're afraid of losing everything that they've worked for.
Because a black family moves in, that they should be afraid of losing everything they worked for? How would they lose it?
They say to you, there's going to be crime here.
We've got crime by the firebombing and the pipe bombing that was projected by the whites on a black family. So there's crime right here. There's crime in all neighborhoods, so we're not going to bring any more crime.
Yo, you notice that the white people who are disgruntled, that do not believe with anything that I've said today, right, are still in the chat, still observing, still watching, here to correct the black people, here to tell the black people that their experience is not the real experience, that they know more about being black than them. You know why? Because they're professional racists. That's what white supremacy is. They good at it. So they telling us, how to be, what they've always done, how to be and how. And it's so crazy. He talked about the clip was from the 50s and it had the date on it, 1975. Like, you can't make this up. You cannot make this up. How incredibly slow that they are, and show up to be the expert. And you're the expert on nothing. You're the expert at white supremacy, but only by inheritance, not because you're good at it. You're good at ignoring it. You've been taught that. That's been ingrained into you. But other than that, you ain't nobody. You ain't nobody. And if they brought real equality, this is what y'all really scared of. If they brought true equality, you would make it. That's why y'all advocating for the numbers. That's why abortion has become a big issue in this election, because you know that without the numbers, you can't enforce white supremacy. You know that with on an equal playing field, that black people with the scraps that they've been given, they're the most educated group as far as getting their master's degrees. Imagine if they had true equality. That's why y'all are mad at everything. DEI, all of this stuff. DEI means did not earn it. All this stupid stuff that we have to hear about is y'all whining about true equality.
But Scotty, you think we're gonna ever get true equality? You think we're gonna ever get true equality? Because I don't think we ever get it. I don't think the stuff this drunk dude saying matters. I don't think it even matters.
I say there's never going to be any system that is truly beneficial to the minorities, right? Because who the hell is going to get out the VIP section and just allow everybody else in there, right? Especially when
we got to be minorities. I'm just talking about black people. We forget that DEI crap and forget minorities. I'm talking about black people.
We're minorities. Minorities just mean we're not the majority. No, we're not the majority.
We black. That's not what the minority. No, they redefine that. That's not what minority means. So white woman is a minority, according to their definition. That's how they had them in affirmative action. I'm talking about black people. Black people, you think they're going to ever get to the point? Because I don't believe black people ever get to this point. They never let it happen.
Well, Pittsburgh, I'll say this. Me and you disagree on DEI, right? Right. Yeah. We have different positions on DEI. I think DEI has helped a lot of people. I don't care if it helps white people, as long as it helps black people. The idea is, hey, it's going to help black people, right? And I feel like there's no perfect system, but if we had more programs like that, then I think they have programs. They have programs, like people always say, what did Barack Obama do? And then you go point to programs that he put to minorities or impoverished areas, and it was
minorities, bro. Black people need their own stuff, bro. They don't need to be in no minority crap.
They don't exist. Yes, they don't. Do. The only thing that black people should get
white women is white women in those DEI programs were the biggest benefactor. So you telling me they can have a program called DEI, white woman can be the biggest benefactor and walk away with it, and we fighting for it? Like, it don't make sense. We need our own stuff, bro. Like every other group got their own stuff. We need our own stuff, bro. We didn't be fighting for no minority crap, because there was minorities on. That's the definition. It was minorities on this trial, and they didn't stand up for this boy and the way that y'all wanted them to. That don't count when it counts the way that y'all wanted to count. It's only when it's come to them getting our stuff then they take it and they run off and they disappear. They're not there for you. So why are we trying to include them in our stuff? It don't make sense. They never include us when they have stuff. They don't include us in their businesses. They don't include us in none of the stuff they have going on. Why we keep including these people?
Okay, my bad. I had to upload this video real quick. So a couple things to unpack there, Pittsburgh T. And this is why Pittsburgh T. Like, I feel like this group of black people that exist now are too comfortable, right? Are too comfortable. They've been too comfortable with giving crumbs, and they don't have right perspectives, right? Like, they think they know better than it is than the people who grew up during Jim Crow, and I think that that's absolutely insane, right? Like, I hear them say, "Oh, integration was segregation was good for black people." Blah, blah. You're hindsight. The people who grew up during that time thought it was the worst thing ever, and we have more black millionaires now than we've ever had because of integration, right? So I think it's really silly for black people now to think they knew better than black people then. That is absolutely madness to me, right? But I think this the worst thing they could have ever did during civil rights is include everybody. They should have just had some just only for black people. Like, that mindset is why we don't get nothing. You don't go to a negotiation. You don't go to your boss and say, "I want $100 an hour or nothing." You don't have this all or nothing mentality in any other thing. Then why would you have it with DEI? Yes, it helps white people. It helps white women. We know this. But it also helps black women. The Department of Education, affirmative action, all of that stuff that helped other races has also helped black people. You think 2.62 million black Americans have got their master's degree without the Department of Education? That's madness.
Bro, the Indians got their own stuff. The Indians in America have their own stuff. They ain't part of all these other groups. They have their own stuff from what happened to them in this country. They can separate it out and we can get our own stuff. We don't have to be including these other groups. That don't mean that we fighting against them. We just need our own stuff, bro. That's it. Like, we don't have to be included in all this stuff. They want to do all this stuff for all these other groups. They included white women. They included the rainbow people. They included midgets. They included all this stuff in affirmative action and DEI. So, like, you can't get yourself in that box because it's so separated. And then the only people that actually look like, according to them, they get stuff is us, and we're the smallest percentage of people getting anything. It don't make no sense. We don't need to be in that box. We need to have our own, and then you start having your own. Like the Indians got their own, they're a completely separate entity from any of this other stuff. And there's some Indian reservations where these people are prospering, and some is not. But they have their own stuff. They're not included in this stuff. That's the way it should be.
Do you think that they would ever give black people anything? You think we would ever get reparations?
Well, look, this is what I'll say about the reparations. Should we get reparation? Absolutely. Do I think we'll ever get reparations? No, because of the leadership that we keep choosing. That's the last thing they're talking about. And they always act like when it comes to black people, they're so busy. They're too busy to deal with black issues. Black representation is always too busy to deal with black issues. And it don't matter which political spectrum you are dealing with. It don't matter which religion you're dealing with. They all do the same crap. We just gonna deal with this. When we get finished with this, we're gonna help y'all black people. And it never happens.
So the reason why I asked you and you answered no is because if they're not gonna give us reparations, we need some type of economic stability.
No, we don't need that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We do.
We need better leadership.
And DEI helped black people. Even though it helped other people, it still helped black people. Right, and this is why white people are so mad.
Smallest clip, bro. Look at the.
This is why white people were so mad about DEI, because it helped black people. And Pittsburgh T, I remember having a conversation with you before about Donald Trump getting rid of DEI and how that was going to affect the cases and lawsuits that was happening at the workplace. And you told me, Scholar, they still got the EEOC. You know what happened with the EEOC? White people are now suing for racial discrimination and reverse racism of companies of being hired for hiring black people over them. So white people are now going in and using the EEOC. It was never about DEI. It was the fact that they felt it was the fact that white men felt like they were excluded from DEI and they wanted a leg up. Just like whenever the government gave out COVID relief checks, there wasn't one white capitalistic person that sent their check back to the government because they do believe in free money and all the stuff, they food stamps and all this stuff that they criticize everybody else for. They're just mad that they're not getting it. Right? That's why you see the people who the January 6ers, those people were trying to justify why they deserve funds because they were so badly treated by the government. They don't care about government handouts. They just want to be the beneficiary of them. It's not about anything. And to the point of DEI being a bad thing for black people, you will never spend that. And matter of fact, I might go do this. I might go find some people who benefited from DEI and actually interview them on my show to show like no, I'm not gonna go with that narrative that all or nothing shit is exactly why Donald Trump is president right now. People stayed home. Yes, they said the Democratic Party was the plantation. They didn't vote for them. Yes, yes.
That's not true. If I go for a job interview, I'm not if it's for me and my family, I'm not taking somebody with me and say hire him with me. No, what you got for you and your group is for you. Like, we don't have to do this we got to be involved in this or we get nothing. Like, we got to stop doing that, throwing ourselves in groups and like, well, it's better than nothing. We weren't getting them before. No, we need to get our own stuff. That don't mean that we hate other groups. That don't mean we got to take less than. We need to get the appropriate amount. That means that we need to stick together and have some real leadership. Because real leadership don't care what political party you in. It don't matter who in power. We're supposed to get what we're supposed to get. Just like all these other groups, no matter who's in power, they get the appropriate distribution of funds that they need to get in their communities. We don't get that. We only supposedly get that under one group, which we don't even get at that point. We're supposed to get it no matter what, because we black in America, no matter if Democrats in office, no matter if Republicans in office, we need real leadership in this community. And that's what has to happen. It doesn't matter that politics crap, because the small hat people, they don't care what party's in there. The Chinese people, they don't care what political party. I can go through all the groups. They don't care. So the idea of this whole politics stuff, that's not how this stuff gets played. We just play ourselves with all this stuff. We keep including ourselves with people who don't rock with us. And we keep saying, this is the only way, when nobody else is doing this stuff. Nobody else is doing this but us.
Absolutely not. The black people during Jim Crow understood that laws were going to affect everybody, including white women, and they still bargained because they understood the greater good. They had more foresight and they were more desperate in their decision making. The black people now think that they know better, and I'm gonna tell you now that they don't know shit. They don't know shit. They ain't been through enough. They got good lives. They got good lives. They middle class. Matter of fact, there was a clip that I had. Let me see if I still got it. Where a black dude had actually forgot that he was black because of his middle class status, and that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the largest group of wealthy black people throughout the world, not just America, throughout the world. Like, so yes, I get it. Why they would think, that they know best or this, because you're naturally supposed to progress and get smarter with times. But nah, it's not the case. It's not the case. The black people now, they're in no position to bargain or do anything on the behalf of black people. Let me play the rest of this clip so I can get this off my screen. It's only a little bit left, and I'm gonna show the other clip of Metcalf.
And now you want to talk shit? Oh, I've been so oppressed. You couldn't even vote 1960. Look how far you've come. Look at all the free shit we give you. You're not oppressed. You're fucking
You're entitled. You're not oppressed. You're entitled. All the free stuff that we give you. We? Who is we? What, like I ain't never seen my because I pay taxes. I don't get none of that stuff. But I ain't never seen my Uncle Sam come and take my money in the name of Austin Metcalf's dad. Like, what are we? You ain't did nothing. And that's what I say, that the we he's talking about are white supremacists. He's speaking on the behalf of them. He knows he's the mascot for them. And it's like crazy. I can't pretend. I'm sorry, I can't pretend. I can't do that. Especially when I see the obvious. That dude is the poster child for white supremacy. He's the mascot as we speak currently for white supremacy, and he knows it. So he gonna carry it, call him watermelon felon, or do whatever he has to, to ride this out. In the same way that George Zimmerman was trying to sell the gun or the murder weapon that he used for Trayvon Martin. It's no different. He understands. He knows he understood the assignment. Ain't that what the young people say? He knows the assignment.
I don't think that matters, though, Scholar, because I ain't studying him. He not that type of white person that got any power or any authority to do nothing. He just agreed with father, just saying a bunch of wild shit. Some of it racist, some of it offensive. He just saying dumb shit. So he don't really even count in the whole grand scheme of things. What's going on? He ain't like who he gonna pick up the phone and call anybody and make any change? He can't. He ain't talking to nobody of power to do anything besides get on the internet and just troll and make money like Charleston White and the rest of you. That's all he knowing, and that's all he gonna continue to probably do for the next 2 years.
So I don't even know what question you're talking about, Homestead, but you could always pull up to the panel. You know, the link is on my community wall. You can go there and hit the link. We normally don't even respond to the chat unless there's a super chat involved. So, you know, consider yourself lucky. But what's good, T Hill?
What up with it, Scholar? I was here earlier, man. It kept pushing me off. It pushed me off right then and there, but it let me come back.
What's up, T Hill? Man, I heard from that brother in a while. What's happening, brother?
What's up with it, Pittsburgh T?
You know, T Hill, he been hiding. T Hill been hiding.
Nah, man. Actually, man, I busted my leg, bro. I fell down some stairs, man. Broke my stuff in two places.
Shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and then just recently lost my brother too. So shit.
Damn,
bro. Man, that's not good, bro. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, man. But I ain't really been able to fill up, and just lately I've been back on getting back on. But yeah, man.
Happy to have you back, bro.
Good. It's good to hear you brothers talk, though, man.
What you got to add to this, brother? I know. How, let me see where you lie on this, T. Where you lie on this? You think Metcalf's dad is cooking on something? You think Metcalf was a victim? Matter of fact, I've never heard your opinion. What you got? What's your opinion on this?
He ain't cooking on nothing, man. I just don't. There's a different set of like Pittsburgh was talking about. There's a different set of things that apply to them as opposed to us. We get treated differently in all facets, in all shapes and forms. They put lines up just because of our sector. And then, I mean, hell, you can look up just the way they just structure state and city and how come things are so different between the same state, but what's called state and what's called city. So there's so many things that take place and take shape in the way that they govern things. And as you said, it doesn't matter who's in the office representing, because they all pitching on the same team. It's just they're doing it for a different color jersey, but they throwing the same ball for the same people. And unfortunately, man, you know, all it does is create more dichotomy for us to have to deal with. I don't particularly talk politics with a lot of people because people get really, really offended, but you can clearly tell that from the beginning, things have been different for various folks. And it's not even something that we can even debate. It's just beginning to see that people now with certain folks in the office have come more flamboyant with the way they express their liberality or their the way that they view themselves as Americans, so to speak. And I mean, I'm fine with it. I just think that, you know, we have to be real. I think ultimately, when we look at the structure of how things work in this country, many people band together, they group together. Of all the people that do that, we seem to fall behind in that. And we got to start looking to each other and saying we got to help one another and stop pulling people down because they're pushing us down. So we can't help them in this. We have to do things to help better our standing and our setting. We are one of the most, what is it, when it comes to actually purchasing things, we spend a lot of money. Consumers. Yeah, exact. Consumers. We're one of the biggest consumers in all of the world. And then a lot of the stuff we consume be of the essence that we are. And I've always said this, man. I like dropping monikers and statements like that. I said they love our essence. They hate our existence, or they loathe our existence. Like they will take. I remember one time wearing your hair was not considered a good look. And then when Bo Derek wore it, it was considered a sign of beauty. Same style of hair, different person wearing it. That's just a small microcosm of what's really at play. The way they really deal with us and how they really separate themselves from us. And that doesn't mean every one of them, but that does mean those in power. And those in power make sure that it stays that way. So, I mean, anyone who supports the fact that things have been handed out or given to us, that's been done too, to break up the family and break up the home and set more distance between us and them than anything else as well too. It's like putting a trap out trying to catch something. They think that food is good or that treat is good. That treat is meant to just bring you in so they can snag you. So that's how I really feel about it.
So let me play this, because I don't know if you've seen this, Teal. This ain't that long. I just want to play this and I want to make a point. This is hilarious, right? Because this would be the shared mindset of MAGA. You know, what Nick Cannon, one sound, one band, one name. That's how MAGA is. You know, one brain, one heart. But check this out.
Oh, Anthony, you hire a convicted baby. I didn't stab anyone. And then you proceeded to gaslight me with your convicted felon, quote, advocate, minister of what? Minister, step up. Don't become kicking rocks in my backyard. Look in your own. The display of adults on the internet. If your children saw how you acted, would you be proud? Or is that what you teach them? Do you teach them that racism is okay? Do you teach them? Do you embrace?
Let me stop there, right? The idea that this guy is talking about the how you raise your kids when his kid was putting hands on somebody at school is absolute, and the aggressor too, by the way, is absolutely insane. Like I say, why does this always got to turn into a teachable moment for Black people? That'd be the most frustrating part. Like, they don't acknowledge any wrongdoing from the white person and make it everything about the Black person. Even when the roles are reversed, if it's a George Zimmerman coming down to Trayvon Martin, they said, well, why was Trayvon walking suspiciously? And it's like, if he would have been running, they'd be like, well, what was he doing running at night? It was nothing he could have did in the situation. They put these unfair expectations of Black has to do everything right, and they're going to overly critique even when they do stuff right? And then white is always right? Like, if any other case, they talk about self-defense. They talk about defending yourself. And as Americans, you have the right to defend yourself. And, you know, you just can't go around doing this and blah, blah, blah. That's what the case they make with George Zimmerman. It was self-defense case. You have the right to defend yourself, even though he initiated. Queen, what you got? Queen, what? Oh, let me mute Queen. I don't know what Queen got.
Sorry.
Queen, what you got? What you having a nightmare, sister?
I don't feel well. And I fell asleep.
Okay. All right, sister. I mean, you can stay up here and hang around. You can stay up here and hang around and wake up and then commentate if you want or whatever. We'll catch you on the next one.
I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
Well, Skylar, look, this is the problem. Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, this dude right here, a lot of this stuff he way out there. But I'll say that this is what we need in our community, and this is the problem with a lot of this. Where is the NAACP when we have Democrats in office? Where is the Congressional Black Caucus when we have Democrats in office? Do all our problems get fixed when we got Democrats in office? Because the only time these Negroes show up when it's Republicans in office, and I think that's problematic. That is a huge problem because when the what's the one that the ACLU and the other one that they have the other one that the little hat people got that they have that shows up all the time no matter what. I can't think of the organization that they have, but it doesn't matter the time period of what's happening around. Them people are for their people. These Negroes that's supposed to be representing us, they never held feet to fire, and they only show up and make everything about politics. Like, Black people are Black. That's what they need to be about, is Black people. Once we get in the minutia of politics, we get lost in that foolishness because then they start playing this little game. When it's Black people and you're for Black people, you should be Black people. So if we're gonna make it about politics, and it's about politics, then you're only gonna be for one group. Now that can't do with people. That's only about that group of politicians that you're dealing with. You're not actually dealing with people, and that's what these Negroes have turned this stuff into. That we give all this authority to, and they make us do these things that don't make no sense. Where they put us in these big, large baskets that don't have nothing to do with us, and then we got to fight our way out for scraps into this little basket that they're giving. And that's why these people like him and some of these other ignorant people that say a lot of ignorant stuff, they get drowned out. But when they become like them little hat people, they won't say anything because they're strong. They don't worry about other people. They worry about themselves. So you know that you can't say certain stuff because they're coming for you. And it don't matter which political office is in office. Don't matter.
I think it's a fallacy to pretend that black people can operate like Jewish people. We're not protected by the government. In fact, we have the opposite effect where the government has did stuff to oppress us. You know what I mean? The media right now, like every time a black person passes away, they go searching through their history, their Facebook pictures, and try to make them a criminal before the verdict is even said. So we can't compare ourselves to Jewish people and people that have strong backings like the U.S. government. So but saying black people need to do this and then pointing to an example of a person that kind of has like a free ride in a sense, because they got free healthcare, they got everything at the taxpayer's expense, and nobody bats an eye about Israel. You know what I mean? But if black people was going to get reparations, everybody and their mama will be out there picketing in the streets, rioting, talking about how black people don't deserve it and all this other stuff. Like I said, the party that pretends like they're against entitlement programs is the Republican Party. They're not really truly against entitlement programs. They just want to be the beneficiary of the entitlement program. And what proved that to me was COVID. Like, there's no doubt about it. They were happy with getting that money. Then they got the check and said, inflation. They don't care about inflation either. They spent that money. They ain't rip it up to save inflation and do their American due diligence. But let me show this. I got to make this point. Let me show this.
To hate, to kill. From day one, I said this was never about race. Please don't make it about race and don't politicize it. And what did you...
Don't make it about race until I make it about race by calling you a watermelon felon. You can't make this shit up. Don't make it about race, but I'm gonna make it about race. Or it's like they're professional victims in everything. They wasn't responsible for slavery. Black people somehow really was, right? He wasn't responsible for making this race. It was the black people that tempted him and made him bring up race. He wasn't racist before this, but somehow they brought all the racism out. Like, you can't make this stuff up.
Dude, you chose both. The race card, black fatigue, it's real. I'm sorry. You have embarrassed your own culture and race.
Don't make it about race, but she represents the entire race. They represent the entire race, and they've embarrassed it. You can't make this. He's double talking. He's double talking right in front of our eyes. And you know what he is? The mascot for white supremacy. And that's what they do. That's what they pulled off, the trick of double talking. Telling you don't make stuff about race while being racist, or throwing bombs through your door, right? Because they don't want you in their neighborhood because you're going to bring violence. The idea that they could be violent to you to prevent you being violent to them. That's white supremacy for you. They could have made me go show another clip, Pittsburgh T, of them white women out there protesting for kids, the black kids not to be in the school. How much of this do y'all want us to take? Our rights are being trampled on. We don't have to take this.
Well, I'll say this too, and I'll make a better point of it. The Anti-Defamation League, that's the little hat committee that they have. That's why people don't speak about them in a certain way that they're coming after you. Rainbow people, they got a committee. Like, people very cautious and careful how they speak about them. Black people don't have the folks that's supposed to be fighting for them in those groups. They get on mute. Like, everybody know how they supposed to talk about those two groups, and you see how cautious people are and they tiptoe. Black folks, people can say anything about black people, and those groups are supposed to be out there. They quiet. They're only quiet, and they only say something when it's politics season. They can make some money. That's not how they're supposed to be. That's the problem with it. We authorize people to have certain powers, and they're not. Like, They can like those rainbow folks. We self-police ourselves in what we say about them. In certain words we used to say, we don't even say them words right now because they have so much authority and so much power within those groups. The same thing with the little hat people. We have groups we continually get money and they do nothing. They say nothing. So those are supposed to be your strength powers. Even the so-called leaders, they say nothing. So people are able to get on here and say racial epithets. They're able to say all kind of stuff on social media and nothing happens to them. Nobody says anything. Everybody makes it normal. And then they just try to make all these crazy comparisons. I don't care. Like the rainbow people say all kind of stuff between themselves. So like they always do this thing where they say, you guys call each other the N-word. The rainbow people call each other all those slurs within each other, but you better not do it. And we know we're not going to do it. Why? Because they have a strong group that they stick together and they have an actual group that has power and some teeth behind it. That's what we need. And you stop a lot of this other stuff that happens.
Pittsburgh T, it's not going to happen. You're selling fallacy. The government is never going to step up for black people and do anything.
The government.
Yes, it's the government. It's the government.
No, it's not. The NAACP is not the NAACP is not the government. The Congressional Black Caucus. What are those? Aren't they?
Pittsburgh T. The NAACP is not fighting for people not to say FAG on the internet. They're not fighting for any.
They're
of those
not fighting
things.
for black people. What's the first word? That Negro, right? Where's the Negro fight? Where's the Negro? The first letter, first acronym is Negro. Where is the fight? Where's the fight for the Negro where they police speech like other groups police speech? We just let people say anything. Where's the police of speech at? Where's that?
This is so frustrating because I don't care about rainbow people. I don't care about any of that. We talking about this case.
I'm talking about how they speech. I'm talking about how they police and speech.
But Pittsburgh T, we talking about this case. We talking about white supremacy. Why do we have to get all off the rails and talking about rainbow people and any of that stuff?
We're not. We talking about speech.
This dude just said, don't make it about race, and he made everything about race. Why can't we focus on that? Why can no? It does matter. It does matter.
No, it don't.
Why can't we focus on him?
Because he's able to do that because the people who's supposed to stop that language to happen from other groups, they stop it from happening. Our people don't. They sit here and play stupid like they don't know what's going on and they can't do nothing. It's free
14% of the population who has historically had the government like oppress them are supposed to somehow get this magic. I guess we got a genie lamp at home or something. Get this magical power and start holding people's feet. Because hold up, Pittsburgh T, when we did try to do that with Target, you said that the boycotts was useless.
They were stupid.
So, but that was a form of us.
No, but that wasn't no real. No, that wasn't no real boycott. Number one, that wasn't no real boycott.
So then, what do we do?
First of all, that wasn't no real boycott because you didn't have a real leader. Number one, you didn't even have an actual plan or a real leader that people actually respect. That's the first primary thing that you need. And you have to have a real reason why you're doing this. Those are all the primary markers they never had. So people were never gravitating toward that from the beginning on the mass scale. You had a few trying to do that for the mass scale. Never happened. They didn't boycott it. Look, we're getting off subject with that. That ain't what that was.
So what do we do? So what do we do? You said what black people need to do. If we don't go out there and protest with our dollar, what do we do?
No. Those groups, the NAACP, that's supposed to represent us in the collective. They're like
saviors. You're looking for saviors, Pittsburgh T.
No, I'm not.
The NAACP is not going to save black people.
Hold up. No. Just like how I point out them groups and they police speech. They police speech in a way where people do not talk about them a certain kind of way, even though they don't mess with them. They're not going to say, like Transformers, don't know, but it's probably less than 1 or 2% of the whole United States population. You better not say nothing about them. You better not say nothing crazy about them. Everybody know about this. That's even a smaller percentage than black people. So how could they get people to police speech about that small group of people, but all these black people can't get them to just let people say whatever the hell they want to say about you?
White people are the majority in the country. It's
Transformers ain't just white folks. They ain't just white folks. Stop that, bro.
Wait. No. There are a bunch of white people that are alternative, and they're in power. You talk about this all the time. How many? Hold on. Are there qualified black CEOs out there right now? Are people that should be CEOs? But you and I both know the CEOs are majority white because we live in a majority white society. So then why would you think it would be any different for if we don't have representation, Pittsburgh T, in the spots that we're deserving of, why do you think it would be any different from enforcing language? Like that doesn't make any 14% of the population, and you're leaving it up to the responsibility of them. Like that's
less
crazy
than
to me.
1%, bro. It's less than 1% that's Transformers, and we know this happens. So we can't have like, oh, we victims. We can't do nothing. No, we can do something.
No,
we can,
that's not. So that's not. That's
we
not.
can
That's
do
not
something,
true.
bro. We can do something, bro.
That's not true. That's not true.
What?
That's not
Transformers
true.
less than 1% of population.
But the people that
population.
people that mess with them are empowered too as well, and they're advocating for laws for them too as well. I mean, but we know with the Epstein files that white men are freaky, right? And they're the ones that's writing the laws. No, this is a fact. No, this is a fact. It's not something I made up. No, this is definitely a fact. It's definitely a fact. They will go out there and preach against alternative lifestyle, but they will be living that lifestyle too as well, and sleeping with transgenders. So that's why that happens. But still,
that don't have nothing to do with us policing language, though, scholar. Like I'm talking about, like when people get so cautious that they won't at workplaces, the language with workplaces, with file suits, the government, everybody tiptoes around on people, and they such a small percentage. Why? Because they got actual people that fight and say, hey, this is the group of people, these folks right here, not these other people. We ain't in no minority basket. We only dealing with us. This is what you got to deal with. And this is what we require for you to do. And people are kowtowing to it. And it's a small percentage of people that got this done. We 10 times the number of them, and we can't get nothing done. That don't make sense, bro.
I say what you're requiring, you're not living up to. Because when we have stuff like this, right? When we have stuff like this, and we talk about Carmelo's dad and we talk about race, you'll show up and you say it's not about race. It's not about race. So if we can't be gun ho. No, hold on. Okay. You won't talk about examples because I guarantee you, if this was a gay person that had been unalive, every gay person would be in unison about the cancellation. But you're not in unison with black people. So how could you demand us be revolutionary and spirited and all this stuff when you're not even doing it on one that's clearly racist?
No, because they're a protected group of people.
They protect their group of people.
No. Hold on.
Yes.
When you mess with, they're gonna classify it as a hate crime. That we don't know this. That's what's gonna happen, bro. You do that to them, you're gonna be classified a hate crime. It's gonna be a federal offense off the top. So whatever you think, whatever I think, that's what's gonna happen. Like we should be classified
because
as
they fight for that.
No, that's
so let me ask you this:
why we don't fight for that?
Okay. Why you don't fight? Okay. Trayvon, excuse me. Carmelo Anthony, you said he was a criminal and he murdered somebody. He belongs in jail.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not being the example you're saying that people should be.
So because he's black, so just because he's black, that's him off the hook.
That's how gay people operate. Absolutely. Pittsburgh T, your only qualification to be in Pittsburgh T, the reason why they have those letters, LGBTQ, is they wanted to communicate, they wanted to include everybody in their struggle. Yes, absolutely. The gay community does not only consist of trans people, but people who are curious. They even come up with a term called queer because they're on code, Pittsburgh T. You off code. If you're saying that this is what black people need, then you need to be the example of that.
No, I don't. Because number two things are happening that you're mixing up two different things. What I'm saying is those people are classified. You mess with, like, if you commit a crime against them, it's going to be committed as a hate crime. Now, if they commit a crime against somebody else, that's completely different. This person committed a crime against somebody else. It wasn't committed against him. There was no crime committed to him where he lost his life. That's why this whole thing is going on. So we're interjecting race after. But even if you believe that, if you were classified as a group that when they mess with you, it was hate crime, all of this changed. But these people that's supposed to be fighting for us, they not. That's the problem.
We supposed to fight for us, and you supposed to be fighting now, but you're not doing it.
It's hate crime. It's supposed to fight for us to be classified.
You were supposed to pull up. You were supposed to pull up, regardless of your beliefs, and be on code, because that's what gay people do to theirs. I'll give you an example. Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle makes a bunch of trans jokes. The whole entire gay community has canceled Dave Chappelle, and without even watching his stand up, because you know why? They're on code. They have a mission. They have clear-cut intentions of their missions, all that good stuff, etc. Right? In this case, this dude has talked about Carmelo's mom being a drunk, called her the B word, called the son a watermelon felon, said all of these derogatory racist things, brought up Donald Trump, which was like, what the hell is Donald Trump doing that? It's a distress call to Donald Trump. He wants Donald Trump to tweet about him so he could extend his 15 minutes of fame. All of this stuff, Pittsburgh T, he's done. And what you did is showed up and say, hey, it's not about race. You're not on code.
Bro, the incident wasn't about race, bro. The incident with these children was not about race. All this other stuff is money grabs. He trying to get money. A lot of these other people are involved. They trying to do money grabs, and it's not just 15 minutes of fame. They trying to get on TV shows. They trying to get interviewed. They trying to get sponsor deals. They trying to get money. All these parents, to me, both sets of parents are just money grabbing and stuff. That's what they're doing. Those children, that stuff ain't had nothing to do with no race. And how these adults are acting, a lot of like him is despicable. It's beyond despicable the stuff he doing. But that ain't got nothing to do with these children. Nothing. See what you think, brother? Because me and Scholar go back and forth arguing like this forever, man.
I think that both of you make solid points. I agree with you. I mean, if it were different, and it was different demographics at play with who was the victim and who was it would have been so different, the storyline, because we know this from a kid that was walking down the street one day in Florida with a hood on. It was deemed self-defense. It wasn't deemed a hate crime. But with this is going to be deemed a hate crime. On top of that, there is power structures at play that, we can't supersede, that allow for them to be protected. When they do things, they are protected, whereas we are not. That's the like you said, the small hat group, they definitely hold a big seat amongst the table where the main players are playing. So they make sure that they have their ducks already lined up in a row. I think we do have to get together and start to see forward progress in us protecting ourselves, and then on top of that, ensuring that you just can't disregard us as people so easily to just throw us under the bus. Somebody's in the comments talking about, a white person was killed by this person, and we're talking white supremacy. Man, there was a kid who went into the church, asked a group of people to pray for him, and as they prayed for him, he took out a semi-automatic and sprayed him. Guess what he was? He was a victim. He was a victim too.
How did the police treat him? Since we talked about
They took that brick. They took him to Burger King or some food place to get him, what's his name? They asked if he was okay. The George Floyd incident where they were having people out there, rioting and whatnot. Somebody took their semi-automatic, went out there and started spraying people, and they ran to the police with the gun, and they welcomed them with open arms. Didn't realize that he'd already killed about 7 or 8 people. Somebody also said that, they weren't slave owners and we weren't slaves. There are so many people who built their wealth, their generational wealth, off of being slave owners, so that it set their standing in this country and in this world at a level where they will never see any type of struggle.
You know what, Tio? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna make a movement called "Let's Stop Going Back," right? Because we ain't got to go back that far. We can just look at the news just in a week. The Asian guy that murdered the boy. We could look at this harsh sentence of first degree murder for 35 years. We could point to the justice system in our immediate current situation, right? And we don't have to go all the way back because they don't even know what Jim Crow is. They just think slavery. This is how misinformed white people is. They think slavery, Martin Luther King, everything is equal. They don't understand Jim Crow.
Absolutely. So, I think that we do, especially if we have people that are supposed to represent us. They have to be more proactive in representing us, and they have to demand the same type of respect and result that the other people seem to demand and get. And we have to, as a people, push for this because it's not going to be them who's going to just hand it to us. They made their bread off of the backs of us. Remember, at one point we were what? 3/5 a person?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even the fraction was disrespectful.
And then when they made him a full person, they still had to go out there, and face Jim Crow, literacy laws, not being able to vote, all this stuff while paying taxes. That's why I say white people are crazy. The first lynching case didn't even come about until like 1990. Even though they lynched people all the way up into 1990, that's insane to me. 1990, if you were born in 1990, that makes you 36 years old. The first lynching case was 1990. Like, bro, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this crazy stuff.
But let me say this too. Like, look, they had a vote for reparations in California, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They destroyed their own bill, and nobody had this mass rally. Let these Negroes out of here. They had the majority. If the Democrats is the people that we saying is our group, they had the majority in the state house, and some of them refused to vote. They refused to let cameras in. The governor played this game. Like, they played this whole game, and nobody got mad enough to say, you know what? We're finna make y'all pay. Y'all not finna be in power no more. Y'all don't want to represent us? Cool. We got something for y'all. That's what needs to start happening. We just let people play these little stupid games, and they get away with it and come up with this nonsense, and we be letting them play it and get away with it. Because they had a layup to get that. That was easy for them to do. They had the governor, they had they had so much power, it just didn't make any sense. So they did what they did. They stalled. They didn't let cameras in. They couldn't get no answers, and they just disappeared. And people moved on from the news of it. And these people are still in power, playing this game, and now we victims again. But you had the power. Like, so it don't make sense. We got to start holding all these people. Congressional Black Caucus, NAACP. Like, think about when's the last time you seen the NAACP say something upon the Democratic president?
See, I don't look for the NAACP. I don't look to them.
You should.
They're not my leader. They're not my leader. They don't lead me to anything. The NAACP is just that. Like that doesn't make any sense. You think the NAACP is our Superman?
They don't have to be. So
let me ask you this, Chris. Why do you have expectations for the NAACP that you don't have for yourself? You wouldn't show up. You wouldn't show up and be on code in this situation, but you want the NAACP.
This ain't no code. No, this ain't no code
to pick up every black case and talk about what you think they should talk about.
No, this ain't because every black person don't need to be free. Every single black person that commit crimes don't need to be free. That's a crazy notion. No. What I'm saying is the Anti-Defamation League.
So that's what you believe this is. The people that think what's his name again? Carmelo. People that believe and support Carmelo believe that criminals should be free.
No, I'm saying most people believe he should go to jail. Most people believe he should go to jail. No, most people believe he should go to jail. They just don't I believe he should go, but not for no 30-something years. That's crazy. I still think he did what he did was a criminal act. My point was that the Anti-Defamation League represents those little hat people, but all them little hat people ain't looking for the Anti-Defamation League to lead them, but they protect them no matter what. You don't have to lead somebody to protect them and make sure that your rights is protected and you classified as people not. First of all, your image has to be protected, right? If your image ain't protected, people look at you as less than. So if your image ain't gonna be protected, which we know how our image is portrayed in this United States. People can say and do anything to black people, and on TV screens and books and media and print, and nobody really says anything. We got people now going back to putting blackface on. Where are the people that are in charge? Say, hey, you can't do that. You think they would go and put nooses? You think they would go and put on that star symbol and start walking around with hoods and stuff? And you think people ain't gonna flip the hell out? We seen it with Kanye. What happened? So we can't sit here and play like these people don't. They protect their image. We don't even protect our image, bro.
It's easy to do when you have the government or powerful people backing you. Yes, it's easy to do. That stuff is really easy to do. In the case of Carmelo Anthony, not only did they said this wasn't about race while making it about race, they took away his gifts and go right after and was like, hey, the cause is over. That's targeted, bro. targeting.
He got the money though, Stalin. He got
He
the money.
did
That's
not
Romer. He got the
receive the
money.
money,
He
bro.
did. Look it up. Look it up. He
No,
did.
bro.
I looked it up.
I did this before. He did not get the money, bro.
Bro,
And
he
even if
got
he,
that money.
Pittsburgh T, you see how you make their talking points for. Let's say he did get
No,
the
I'm
money.
telling
Oh,
you what I
hold on.
looked it up.
Okay. Let's say that he did get the money. Why did they disassemble the gifts and go? They don't have a history of doing this stuff.
They don't
Why
make no
specifically
sense.
this case? Okay,
Yeah,
so why not
that
point out
don't
the
make no
fact that he's
sense.
targeted?
Bro, listen, we can't, like, some things are factual, right? I don't have to be immoral and make up stuff just because I believe a thing. I don't do that. Like, some people might want to do that. I'm not going to do that. Like, some things can be right. Like, a person can be justified in doing a thing and not 100% be right. You don't got to be an angel or walk on water to be getting some kind of grace. And I think that's what we get wrong. We got to act like people got to be completely perfect for us to get on board. People do wrong shit and people get behind. I think that's what people miss the boat with shit. And you need to call out the wrong shit people do because we got kids. You can't sit here and tell people that they doing right stuff when they're doing wrong shit. And your kids listening to you while these motherfuckers doing fucked up shit that you don't want happening to your kid. I don't want no kids. My kids are all grown, but I wouldn't want nobody kid that I halfway care about to take a kid and push them and the end up result of that what happened to that white boy. I wouldn't want that to happen to nobody behind the push. No, that's not supposed to happen, bro. That's wrong. Not no children.
So a couple things. So we got a super chat from Black Republican. Shit, let me zoom in on this. She said, "How about we all stop asking the government for things and work? Stop being victims and asking other Americans to use their hard-earned money for you." It's funny that he sent a super chat and said that. Send me another one, your dumb ass. But that's neither here nor there. So this is what I mean by white supremacy, right? This is what I mean by it. They look at they're unable to judge cases that are similar, the same, or have any consistency whatsoever, right? So we look at the woman who called a black person nigger, right? Well, it wasn't even a black person, but called a little boy a nigger, right? And that person was rewarded, right? How was she rewarded? She was able to raise $1 million off of her GoFundMe because she alluded that black people was harassing her and finding her address with no proof, but automatically became a victim. And all of a sudden, people, was given to her exuberant amounts of money and made her a millionaire. Nobody cared about what the fuck she did with her money. So why do they care about what Carmelo Anthony's mom did with her money? They think they think that they're undeserving. They think that they're undeserving of justice. They think they're undeserving of money. They think they're undeserving of everything because that's what white supremacy really is. That's what they really believe. And that's the elephant in the room. And this is why Pittsburgh T, nobody comes out and fights for us because they don't believe we're deserving either. All the other groups who group themselves with black people, the Asians and stuff, they don't think black people are deserving of justice because they've been taught and indoctrinated by white people. So with that being said, it's easy to compare ourselves and say the Jewish do this, the gay does this, the blah 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 does that. They are all protected groups that are protected by the government. Black people are not.
Protected, though?
It's because it's normalized to disrespect black people and get away with it. And black people will be complicit in the disrespect of black people and will not do anything. They will show up and will not be on code for any. It absolutely matters.
No, it don't.
They will ignore facts.
You think every little hat person believes with the Anti-Defamation League? You think that's not? Come on.
No, I tell you what they do believe.
Every Jewish person believes in the Anti-Defamation League. Every Jewish person is getting laid by the anti. No, but they fought, but they're protecting and fighting for them, and also the government. The government itself, at the time they make that, the government wasn't down for them people. The government don't like them people. They fought and established and said, y'all gonna buy for these rules, and then this is what we going for. The rainbow people did the same thing. They don't have to like you to respect you and establish some kind of rule and order in your name and your image. That liking you stuff is underrated. The hell with them liking me. I don't give a damn if they like me. But with some stuff need to be in order and not be tolerated by us. That's the problem.
Okay, so let me tell you how I know that that's BS, Pittsburgh T. This war in Palestine. You see every single Jewish person come out, right? Especially on the right, that are right wing, like Ben Shapiro, like coming out for and pro Israel and trying to justify this war with Israel. with Palestine, because they're on code, Pittsburgh T. That's what on code looks like. No matter what, they're gonna paint themselves out to be a victim. In this case, if they don't acknowledge any wrongdoing by Austin Metcalf because they're on code. They understand how to keep white supremacy going, and you ignore all the stuff, right, that could be presented as problematic to your goal, and you acknowledge all the other stuff and make up stuff as you go along. That's how propaganda works, and that's the tool that they've been using to prop up white supremacy for years. And it's no different in this situation. This is what we're looking at. I don't know how any rational person looks at this and say it's not about race. It absolutely. The Pittsburgh team, I've been approached as a big dude, Pittsburgh team. I've been approached, right, confrontational wise, by a black person and a white person. The white person will approach you with more aggression because he feels the entitlement and the backing of white nationalism, white supremacy, and all that stuff. So he will approach you a little bit more confident. We've seen videos of white people approaching and handling stuff when they in an aggressive manner, as if they're gonna beat somebody up. And then when they're answered with aggression, that's whenever they're like, hey, wait, we don't have to do this. Well, I was just simply saying, we've seen situations like that, Pittsburgh T. Absolutely.
So, how does this case with these two boys? What part of this we know about this case of race have anything to do with race? The incident itself with these two boys. Where was the race at with these two boys when it's not just them two white boys that told him to get up and leave from there? There was some black kids on that same team that told him to get up and leave from there. Where is the race at?
Who put their hands on who? Who put their hands on who?
The white boy put his hands on him. Right. Is
he that guy's parent?
No, that don't make racist.
Pittsburgh T, Pittsburgh T, you don't see how that's racist. The fact that he think he could chastise another black boy. Pittsburgh T, I'm gonna say this again. You don't think it's racist that a person who's the same age feels like they could chastise you because they don't see you as an equal. They see themselves as superior.
Black boys fight other black boys mostly. They fight Mexican boys. They fight white boys. Like unless
if you say that's
this incident
true.
right here. How does this incident prove that either one of the boys had anything to do with race?
Do you realize that you keep putting yourself in a smaller and smaller box? Okay, so he was approached, according to you, by black boys. Why didn't those black boys put their hands on him there? Why was it only a white boy out the bus?
Why did he put his hands? I don't know why he put his hands on him, but what they got to do with race?
Because you keep ignoring the elephant in the room. Pittsburgh T, whistling past racism.
That's what you interjecting, bro. You're interjecting that.
No, I didn't interject anything. I didn't interject anything. The public interjected racism, and the dad enforced white supremacy.
Bro, that ain't got nothing to do with the incident. So why they didn't use it in court? Why didn't they use that as a defense in court? Why didn't they say this is racist? I mean, we got proofs. Why didn't they use it in court? If that's what it is.
I think we all agreed that the defense team didn't do a good job. So,
bro, it was a paid defense team.
That doesn't mean. It doesn't matter. They did a horrible job. They didn't even bring up his illness.
All right, cool.
They didn't even bring up his illness.
Bro, they didn't even bring up the fact that they didn't have much to work with. Number one, the witnesses that they wanted to call, the people were saying he wanted to call was going to be his brother. So you want to call the dead boy's brother up there, the twin brother that looked exactly like him, and he's sitting there. At some point, he's going to have to tell you how he was holding his brother. He died. That's what you want to call on the stand. That's what Negroes is all about. And they want to go ahead.
I think you're making a point, Pittsburgh. You're making a point for a bad defense team.
What I'm saying is what people are calling for, it's not logical, the things that they're asking the defense team to do. The witnesses that he would have had to get of the incident would have been from the other team that he's not familiar with. He only knew one boy over there. So them boys that's over there is not even familiar with him. The boys of the families that's over there not familiar with him. So he didn't give them a lot to work with what he did. So I don't think he had a lot to work with defense, besides actually having a video saying anything of all these hypotheticals that happened. What happened, he didn't have a lot of defense, besides if you believe in self-defense. He went and told the cop he did the shit. So it's not like we don't know that he did the shit. So we know he did it. We know that the boy pushed him. We know he stabbed. The race stuff, we don't know that. Nothing was said about that. You still ain't told me how it's race besides some elephant in the room. So we don't know that.
Yeah, Pittsburgh T, and this is you keep saying, this is why the LGBTQ winning. This is why I can't get you to assume the obvious. The obvious, Pittsburgh T, is you can't do anything in this country, including getting your ID, without putting your race. Everything's about race. You think these white people are not approaching you aggressively, or caring doesn't exist because they're emboldened by white supremacy and race? That's crazy to me. Like if you'll acknowledge it, and you even acknowledge the justice system and the unfairness in it, all that is white supremacy systemic over years, multiplied and amplified, right? So if you'll acknowledge all of these things, then why is it not a safe assumption to assume that this guy put his hands on this black kid because he thought he was less than? You have history of that. Like it's documented of white kids putting their hands on grown men. Forget about kids, grown men. And like I said, emboldened by white supremacy. You know how you know that this is the case? You ain't got to convince me, Pittsburgh. You got to convince the crowd, because there was an actual crowd outside of the court, and this is how they were reacting.
Let's have a conversation.
Outside the courtroom, here we go. This guy outside the courtroom who was yelling and threatening a woman, and a black man basically stepped up and told her, like, treat me and say to me and do to me what you was fit to do to this black woman, basically in so many words, right? And he became a coward. He didn't do anything. He was like, I wasn't gonna do anything. But we all know that he was aggressively gonna do something, because the historical context, Pittsburgh T. When has there ever been justice for a white man doing something against a black woman? They're emboldened by white supremacy. Like, why do we have to pretend if they're not pretending? Why do we gotta pretend? Why we gotta whistle past racism? They know. Like, look at the comments. Look at. They keep showing up the black channels to do this very thing and say these very things, because they're emboldened by white supremacy. So why do I have to pretend it don't exist if they're not going to? But here's the video.
Ain't nothing but air and opportunity. Do something, the same thing that you were gonna do to her. We both got our hands behind our back. Let's have a conversation. Why did you get in her face? Why did you get in her face? You did. You approached a black woman. Don't do that. That is a woman. 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 A mother. A sister. Okay, you can keep your homophobia. It's Pride Month. It's Pride Month, and we got hella pride. Ain't nothing but air and opportunity.
But that's neither here nor there. That guy that approached him was emboldened by the mascot, which is Austin Metcalf. What they
got to do with these kids, bro? What the hell this got to do with these two kids in this instance? Thomas Hill, you think I'm crazy right now? I think I'm on the island right now, man. To your left? Oh, you right now?
You gotta be on the. Okay. You gotta be on the.
Man, this is crazy, bro. This ain't got nothing to do. All this happened because they outside protesting, outside incident. There's no evidence of this race stuff. And if you wrong, like, bro,
so hold on. You don't think that this case is at all racist?
No, the case itself, no. Now it is because of the judge. Yes, now because of the judge, it is.
So you think that all these white
the original people, incident? No.
The watermelon felon. Where does that come from?
What that got to do with the case, bro?
What does watermelon?
What does it mean to have to do? Listen,
because that's the father of the quote unquote victim.
That ain't got shit to do with. Okay, so can you introduce that to court? Can you put it in the court system? Can you go to court and say, hey, judge, this is what the son said? But when you appeal yourself, okay, so when they file an appeal, when they file an appeal, can they bring this video in and get some type of time reduced or something? Does this have anything? Like, this ain't got nothing to do with the case itself. Those two teenagers ain't got nothing to do with that.
See, one thing I do, Pittsburgh T, is I listen. I got a good memory. I remember how you was telling me, Scholar, you got to look into the OJ case because Mark Furman was racist.
He was, and he was, but Mark Furman was the detective on the case that found all the evidence. This father was not at the incident at the incident itself. He didn't find no evidence. He ain't got no power to the case. He wasn't part of the case.
So what's your proof of
anyway?
What's your proof of racism? How
Mark Furman was caught on tape. Mark Furman was caught on tape saying a bunch of racist stuff that they played. Yeah,
saying stuff makes you racist.
They played it on tape. They went through his history as a police officer and they proved that the man was racist. So that is a completely different situation. That ain't this.
Okay, what you're saying is though, you're saying that statements can make you racist, and what I'm doing right now is showing you statements of the father of the quote
I
unquote
never said he wasn't
victim.
racist. I never
Okay, so
said
we
that.
could acknowledge that he's racist. So do you
Yeah,
think that
let's
him,
say he is racist. I don't think it got nothing to do with the incident.
do you think him growing up in America, being depicted a certain way, being exposed to a certain way of how to treat black people and all this disrespect you say black people get, and his dad being a racist has no effect on him whatsoever?
I don't know, Scholar. I don't know because I
Why
know.
is
I'm gonna
that
tell you
hard to say,
this.
bro?
No,
Why is
because
that
I'm gonna
hard to
tell you
say,
why.
man?
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. You asked me to tell you. I know. I know some folks that's older that their folks was racist and they was Cuban. I know some white folks that their folks they acknowledge it and they tell you, yeah, you know, my mom and my daddy they don't. I don't know. I'm embarrassed to say this. And I work with them. My mom, my dad, they don't like black people, but I'm not like that. And when you look at them, they don't say anything crazy. They go out of their way. So I don't know that to be a fact. I know that their parents were acting like that. Their parents were overtly racist. Not even the son can acknowledge that, but the son didn't act like that. So I don't overtly know. You would assume that by default they will be programmed that. So we can assume that. I don't know that to be a fact. We can assume it. I'm with you on the assumption. But I don't know that to be a fact. That's what I'm saying. That. I just told you why. That's why.
So, yeah, he's definitely racist. I ain't gonna tiptoe around it. His son was racist too because he was raised by this racist piece of crap on the screen. But I want to get into this specifically right here. So let me show you.
Wrong. We got a lot of people that embarrass the shit out of me too. But you guys, you got a patent on that shit.
We got a patent on embarrassing ourselves, Pittsburgh too.
And the only people that's going to change it are you. Don't blame the white person because we can't change it. But you're going to blame the white person for every fucking thing else. We're the bad ones. We're the one that held you down. Guess what? You can do everything in America that I can do. Tell me one thing you can't do that I can't do.
Become the president of the United States with scandal after scandal and no past experience in politics. I'm gonna just start there. And you know what's really, really insane about that comment is that white people, yeah, tell them, preach, we're free. It's so long ago, yeah, champion that stuff. I want to go to this because this is so golden, right? So there was a time where a dude who was unalive, CK, was going really, really hard on DEI. So here we go. Show this.
That's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created. When I get on an airplane, you know, I want my pilot.
It's not a reality. That's not what I believe. But you just said it.
To be like, hi, this is Chad. Maybe like a little bit of a southern accent.
Chad Buckworth here.
You know,
No, Chad. This is my 31,000th hour. I'm kind of bored, honestly.
Yeah, I could do this in my sleep.
But exactly. I want just like cookie cutter, like. Yeah, this is so easy to me. I don't want LaQuisha James.
They have that
comes
like
up,
pilot voice,
and she's just like, "Hi, ladies and gentlemen, pray for me."
And the truth is,
oh, racism isn't who I am, guys. It isn't who I am. But just gotta say all this racist stuff. You know, if I walk in there and then it's so funny coming off the heels of Austin Metcalf's dad saying that, hey, you know, you guys could do whatever I want to do, because I think you guys know where I'm going with this shit. Y'all know where I always go with it, to a place of learning. So here we go.
Florida pilot Jeffrey Wall, seen here in his LinkedIn profile, is facing criminal charges after police said he flew hundreds of flights and tens of thousands of passengers with a fraudulent license.
The allegations in this case suggest a deliberate effort to circumvent systems designed to safeguard the public.
Wall was promoted to captain in 2009, and since then, police said Air assigned him to 900 domestic and international flights, each one carrying as many as 500 passengers.
He was licensed to fly. He was a commercial pilot. He was not licensed to fly passengers, not licensed to fly passengers internationally on 777s, 767s, 787s, and tens of thousands of passengers.
Police said Wall was caught after Canadian transportation officials detected anomalies in documents he presented in March 2025 during a random check at Toronto's Pearson International Airport. Air Canada insisted safety was not compromised because all pilots undergo mandatory recurrent training every 6 months. Police aren't so sure.
This is very similar to a doctor that is licensed to practice family medicine but is doing brain surgery in their office.
The pilot is now facing 7 criminal charges. Police consider Air Canada the victim here and say he simply deceived the airline, Canadian transportation authorities, to wind up in the cockpit and at the controls of hundreds of flights without the right credentials.
Insane. We could do everything today that y'all could do. You can't name me one thing that y'all could do besides become president of the United States or fly a plane without the right credentials. You know, while Charlie Kirk was saying how dangerous that is for a black person with the credentials to fly the plane. Like, you can't make this up. You cannot make this up.
Yeah, but Charlie Kirk and him, see, the problem with them too, they do this thing where they get you in these impossible, dumbass questions that don't make any sense. And then we keep answering these stupid questions. None of this stuff, they don't have no data, nothing to back this stuff up. Charlie Kirk was the king of going on college campuses, finding young people, boxing them in these red herring questions that made zero sense about race. And he was just giving these crazy scenarios and just state, yeah, there's a court case that did this and did that. He never tell you the court case. He would never tell you the date of the court case. He would never tell you any data that proved anything he said. He just make stuff up. So like these guys and the stuff that they do, they're good at what they do and spinning stuff. People keep falling for that. I don't think that'll ever stop. Like there's always going to be a certain sector of people that's going to do it. They're going to try to do the Rush Limbaugh way. Rush Limbaugh was POS and he was around for what, 25, 30 years of that? Like there's always going to be a guy like that. That's never going to not be here. I think that's going to keep perpetuating itself because there's money in it. People are dumb. They don't do research. They don't look stuff up. They just believe like quick little short clips that they believe. They don't do no research. Charlie Kirk, a lot of stuff he said was complete and utter bullshit because he didn't have any data to back it up. A lot of it was racist. He said he had court cases. He never stated not one court case and all that bullshit, them little clips that they be showing of him on campuses. He never had one. Or there's a case. What's the name of the case? You don't know. You just know he said it was a case where a black man did this, or a black woman did this, and this is the outcome. But he can't state no case. Cases set precedent, and there's a case, it'll be Brown v. Board Education. That's a historic case where you know who was the last name of the person who did it and who they were filing against versus. He gives you none of that. So it's all bullshit, and they're going to keep being able to perpetuate this. These people are fucking idiots.
Yeah. But the people who support Charlie Kirk, the people who rallied around him, the people who made him a millionaire, same people that made Ben Shapiro millionaires, are the people that think like him. Like, he wasn't canceled for saying what he said about black pilots, and it's no different. It's no different. That same energy is the Austin Metcalf dad energy. It's those people. They understand what the assignment is. White mascot for white supremacy. Let's go out there and prop him up. Let's go support him. Let's make him a millionaire. Let's make sure he wins his case. And after he wins the case, let's support everything he says afterwards so we can keep these black people in their place. Let's keep these black people in their place. And that's what this case is about. That's why this case became so famous. That's why we're witnessing what we're witnessing. And that's why people are showing up. Like these white people that are staying up all night, in the chat. Like, I would never, why would you stay at a place? Why would you stay at a place who disagree with you for so long? That is insane to me. That's insane to me. I've never went to a channel and consumed something where I thought people up there were idiots, misinformed, or any of those things. Then why the hell would they stay in this chat so long? Because their mission is to convince me that they're the right one. They're here to teach. They're not here to learn. They're going to teach me what it's like to be black. They're going to teach me what I should do as a black man. They're going to teach me about the rules and convince me that the rules are the way that they say they are instead of the way I'm experiencing it. They're here to support white supremacy. And that's what I'm not cool. I'm not going to whistle past it. I'm not going to be fearful of it. I'm not going to cower in the face of white supremacy. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to tell it how it is. I'm going to talk how I want to talk, and they're going to be here to learn, because I could take their voice away with a simple click.
Scott, I'll say this too. We got to do a better job of protecting people who absolutely represent excellence in our communities, and we got to know what that is. Like the LeVar Balls that we let them do that crazy stuff that they did to that dude. Recently with this movie, LeVar Ball, they ran him all the way off the internet and the TV, everything else for nothing, and kept saying he's a meddling father. He just need to learn his place. Why he all involved with his kids' stuff? So we don't want fathers now be involved with their children and advise them, and we let that happen. That is absolutely insane. That's the way that it be. That we even let that kind of stupidness
Was that a
happen.
we, or was that white people?
We didn't make enough noise, bro. We didn't make enough
we
noise.
absolutely did.
That
People went out. People went out there and bought.
Arguing about that.
They bought his shoes. That ain't
making enough noise.
No,
we made noise. We weren't quiet. We just didn't make. In my opinion, we just didn't make enough noise. We weren't quiet about it. People weren't with it, but they just weren't loud enough, making long enough, and strong enough. They should have turned off all their TVs and that stupid ESPN crap, and any channel associated with some of the idiotic stuff that these folks was doing, some of the narrative that they was pushing on this man. It makes no sense. Stuff that we allow happen. They just did this Michael Jackson movie, and that's another whole problematic thing. Where every time they do a movie on this man, they want to focus on his daddy was beating him upside the head and knock him between the washer and dryer. Every movie they do, I just don't understand why they got to do that all the time. Why do they have to do that when we know that Elvis Presley was a PDF, and you never hear anything about this? He literally got one of his first girls pregnant. She was underage. I didn't want to deal with her no more once she got pregnant. Nobody says anything when they do these documentaries or these series about him. And there's so many of them like that. It's not even funny. But we play like we don't know what's going on, and it just keeps happening over and over again. So that's why I said what I was saying earlier, we got to protect our image, because our image is being destroyed by foolishness. And when you get a dude now that's trying to be a father, they push them out the way and say they just too meddling. They got to get out the way. They got to let the professionals in here. They was mad with LeBron when he brought his folks in there. He got his own agent, which was his partner. He got his own manager, which was his partner. They didn't like that. They were those dudes when they got the proper license, unlike that pilot. Rich Paul, when they got his proper licenses. The other guy that works with him, I can't think of his name, Maverick. He got his proper licenses.
Why we can't support? So how do you feel about Austin Metcalf's dad calling Carmelo's mom a B word, talking about the dad and all this other stuff?
Oh, this dude all out of pocket with a lot of different drunk shit he's saying. I mean, he all out of pocket. I ain't mad at him for being mad at them. Some of the racist shit, obviously, he way out of pocket for that crap. Like, he should be mad with them because they took his son. All the other shit he doing, that's some idiotic, ignorant shit that he doing. Racist and all other kind of stuff you can attribute to that. But I ain't mad at him that he mad with the family. And he got loaded up, looked like he drunk, and he's just saying a bunch of wild ass shit that people probably been coming over there the whole time, all different types, and he kind of putting bits and pieces of stuff together. People telling him, because he addressed Charleston White in the beginning of this, like whatever Charleston White say, he don't even seem like he would know who the hell Charleston White is and this and that. Somebody showed him that video and he responded to that. So he got bits and pieces, he got loaded up. That gag order was on when the trial was on. Now that's over. He get a chance to just let it go. He didn't even like consistently sit down. He just spewed all this stuff out. It's just a rant that don't make no sense.
Yeah, he done completely lost his mind. He done completely lost his mind. And I'm just curious, because I guarantee you this is going to happen. He's going to make more videos. This ain't he's not going to stop with here. He gonna like the response that he got out of this, and he's gonna make more videos. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see how more racist he goes, because I know he realized in this moment that he's the face for white supremacy. So I wonder how deep he's gonna go. Like he gonna double down on the watermelon fella. He gonna say something else crazy, and he gonna like the response that he's getting because he doesn't want to go away. He doesn't want to go away. He likes the attention that he's getting. You know, if that was the case, justice would have just been enough, but it ain't enough. He likes the attention that he's getting. He's gonna go even crazier, and I can't wait. I can't wait because I'm gonna react to all of it. You know, and I'm gonna see if people keep the same energy, because I know he's gonna go all the way right, gonna go all the way dirty. And I'm gonna see if everybody keeps that same energy. I mean, we know that they're not, but I want to see if everybody keeps that same energy. I feel like this, Pittsburgh. I'm gonna make a prediction too. He gonna go so crazy with racism that you gonna pull up and be like, "Yeah, this man tripping." You're gonna change all the viewpoints that you had today. You're gonna be like, "Yeah, this was about race." I think as more facts come out and the more racist he go. So Pittsburgh, you don't think it's no amount of evidence that will make you change your mind on this case?
Yeah, give me some evidence. Why wouldn't it? Yeah, if you got actual evidence, of course I change my mind. But there's no evidence of that. We have actual evidence of it, of course. Why wouldn't I change my mind?
Because there's people that say they saw the video, and they gave eyewitness testimony of what they saw, and all of them said that Carmelo Anthony was not the aggressor. They said that he was trying to get away from them and all this stuff. So let me ask you this, Pittsburgh. If what they say is true, not saying that it is, if Carmelo Anthony was trying to get away from them and they was running up on him, trying to like beat him up and shit, would you say this was a justified, it was self-defense?
Okay, so if they ran up on him and then what, started pushing him is what you're saying? Because that happened over,
yeah, popped him in the face, pushed him, and all this other stuff. The according to the witnesses, he was trying to get away. I don't know if that to be true, but that's what they said. He was trying to get away.
I still think he gets manslaughter, but I think he gets like 3 to 10 or something like that, or 10 to 15, somewhere that max would be. The sweet spot would be 13.
He's trying to get away.
I don't think he gets away. No, I don't think you pick up a weapon in school. Now, if they're out on the street and he's walking down the street and they do that, that's a completely different situation. Now, you're at a school event, at school function, you're not supposed to have weapons.
Whose job is it to protect you at school?
The teachers, clearly they ain't do none of that. The coaches and teachers, they're supposed to be partners.
Okay,
I have no idea.
So if there are no teachers around to break it up, and he's getting jumped, and he feel like
He wasn't getting jumped.
he's supposed to use the weapon. If he found a twig on the ground or a fork or something,
he wasn't getting jumped. That's the problem.
Well, according to the people, there are
Yeah.
multiple eyewitnesses that say the same thing. So either they're in cahoots, or they all saw the same video and is reporting back the same things.
He wasn't getting jumped. There ain't nothing that proves that he being jumped. All we know is that he got pushed. He got approached by 2 people. One person, but a jump is multiple people hitting you, sparking on you. That's jump. Like if 4 people walk up to you and one guy's swinging on you, that's not jump. That ain't no jump. I don't know what people think jump is. That ain't it. I've been jumped before in high school. That ain't it.
Well, like I said,
maybe they change the terminology of it because we keep changing words and words don't mean what they mean no more. But that ain't no jump. And at best, you're supposed to use your hands because he was talking and they was talking. They was jawing. That's what youngsters do. They talk. But at some point, if you're going to keep on talking, something's going to happen. You know that's what's going to lead to. You don't get to, like, little boys, men, whatever you want to call it, like men, even young teenagers, it's only so much talking that happen to the fireways, something pop off. That's how we know this stuff happens. But kids get beat up, they get jumped, they get stomped out. Like, this stuff happens. I don't think that justifies, and none of that happened to him. So we're attributing to something that could happen, that didn't happen.
We're talking about.
Okay, well, until I see something different, it didn't happen to him. Because that's not the transcripts that I read, it didn't happen.
You already set the bar. You said even if I did see something like that, I still wouldn't change my mind.
No, he get less time on my mind. Yeah, it'd be justified to be a homicide still. It was self-defense homicide, still crazy. Homicide. Yeah, I don't think it's justified because he didn't have no business having no knife.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, if they was on the street, if he was at his house or walking around the corner and he was getting jumped, that's a whole different thing. School events, that's not the same thing, bro. That's not even remotely close to being the same thing. He went at where he was at and that happened, cool. Because a lot of these scenarios, you can't eliminate them from being on school within the school confines. That's a school event. Like you can't do like if they play state, they go to state, football, basketball, track, it don't matter. It's a whole foreign stadium, probably the biggest stadium in that state, and they all them groups go there, and that happens. That's still an extension of the school, so you can't take no weapons in there. You ain't nowhere near your school. You might have drove. They might have had to get you on the bus 3-4 hours away. You still can't take no weapon there and just judge nobody up and leave and talking about bullying. That's not gonna work. That's an extension of the school. You can't do that. You got to face the consequences of that.
And you know what else you can't do at school? Assault people. You know whose responsibility?
You shouldn't, but you get suspended for that.
You know, he didn't get suspended. He got jail time. So we're not talking about we're not talking about what the school requires. We're talking about law now.
He didn't get suspended, but Carmelo was allowed to go back to school. He wasn't suspended and finish his education. So Carmelo didn't get suspended for the thing that happened on school ground. He didn't even get suspended. So they allow him. He got his diploma, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So Pittsburgh T, somebody in the chat said, "Isn't that the burden of proof? You just have to prove it was self-defense. Why isn't that enough for you? If the video comes out, or if more credible people see the video and can confirm that okay, this is exactly what happened, then why wouldn't you change your tune on it if self-defense is the burden of proof that was supposed to be required?"
Because you could get like, listen, if you feel like in your mind that you could just do something to somebody and take somebody's life and there's not going to be any repercussions, that's probably not how that's going to go. I don't think so. I don't think you get to take
they
people's
call that
lives.
premeditated. He didn't go to school with the intent to kill somebody that day.
No, you don't have to be premeditated. It could be in the midst of something happening and that's what happened. You didn't intend for it to happen. It happened.
No, but they have laws against that. They call it passion of the crime, where if you come home and
that's not all the time.
Yes, and you catch somebody.
You could be defending yourself. You be defending.
Yes, self-defense, and they let people off for self-defense though.
Not all the time. Then they don't. Not all the time.
You're missing the forest for the trees. If they'll factor in passion of the crime because they understand people's culpable state, and then they're factoring in also, the self-defense. Well, then they've already said, okay, under these circumstances, we'll make an exception, right? So
not all the time. That's what manslaughter is.
Manslaughter is absolutely that too, Pittsburgh T. I just told you about in cases that they don't prosecute in Texas and give them murder because it's not premeditated and they can't prove the culpable state that they intended.
They get manslaughter.
They didn't kill. Okay, so that's negligence. So in this case, he didn't intend to kill nobody. He didn't intend to kill nobody. He should have got.
But I'm just saying that from the beginning.
Why didn't he get manslaughter? So why didn't he though? It is not about race.
That's a crime. I said the incident itself was not about rights. Once it got into the media and the court system, that's a whole different thing. But we know how injustice the criminal. Once you're in the criminal justice system for whatever reason, you got to deal with that animal. That's what you're dealing with. But the incident itself, that incident was not racist. That had nothing to do with race. He started interjecting all this stuff. This daddy had to get on the internet and interject his stuff. He had to say shit. Could have just been talking to his homeboys, all the stuff he's thinking. He decided to interject himself with all this crap. He wasn't even there. He don't even know what the fuck happened. He has no idea what happened. He wasn't even there. And neither was the other boy's parents. So for him to be interjecting himself and the other boy's parents into the incident, none of them was there. They ain't got nothing to do with this fucking incident.
Well, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree. What you got any closing statements? I'm gonna go ahead and go get this sauna, bro.
Hey, well, I just got one. I got a few things to say. Scholar, appreciate the conversation. Everybody who pulling up, we appreciate y'all for sticking with us for this show for this long. How long now? 3 hours, almost 4 hours, Scholar. 4 hours. We appreciate you to the Saturday mornings. Scholar, come up here and have some pretty good intellectual conversations. Let folks up. Me and Scholar don't agree on everything. We try to have a civil conversation, or we not at each other's throat about stuff. I don't call Scholar before, he don't call me, and we don't talk about this shit before we get on here. We turn it on, it's on. Like it ain't nothing fake. It is what it
Oh,
is.
I didn't even think about that. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, ain't nothing fake, orchestrated, none of that shit. This ain't no act. Like, we go, oh, this what I'm gonna say. Nah, none of that. No, He think, I think. We don't orchestrate none of that. If we talk on the phone, it ain't got nothing to do with none of this shit right here. This ain't what it is. So people that enjoy this, we appreciate you up here. All the comments, good, bad, or indifferent. We appreciate those. Folks that's not subscribed, subscribe. The membership. What's the membership now, Scott? How much it is?
$4.99, I believe.
$4.99. $4.99 ain't much, man. We can do something better, man. We need to get at least out of this. We should get at least 2 or 3 members out there. It's $4.99. We should give it a try. Do the $4.99 for at least a couple month or two. You enjoy the content, you can go back once you get the membership and look at some of the old shows and look at some of the other content. Plenty of content, plenty of viewership there. Try to subscribe, and if that white button says subscribe, it's white. Just hit it. That's all you got to do. You just hit the white button. Just hit the subscribe button. Appreciate you, Scholar Man. I'll catch you on the next one. Everybody have a fantastic morning, man. Catch you on the next one, Scholar Man.
All right, T. Appreciate you pulling up, bro. To everybody that pulled up, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the conversation. If you didn't, hey, ain't not much we can do about that. You know what I mean? We like Pittsburgh T said, it was genuinely talking points. We were speaking genuinely from what our beliefs is and giving the facts that we give. And we don't we allow difference of opinion over here. Anybody tonight could have pulled up, even the troll in the chat. But they're not gonna pull up because they don't want to be exposed for somebody that we know. But yeah, you guys could have pulled up. We allow free flowing conversation. Anybody can pull up. Anybody can join. As long as they're respectful. You know what I mean? As long as they're not, bombing, with the weird videos and shit like that. But for the most part, man, we like to have interesting conversations. Third shift. That's what my show is. Third shift. We're gonna get you to that third shift. We're gonna get you to that Amazon warehouse. We're gonna get you to third shift, man. And like I said, got good playback value. This is a great show. I'm gonna clip it up, and I'll catch you on the next one. Anyway, man, it's the Box Scholar. I'm out. Ray J, take them home. Serenade they souls.
Superstar, wish to have a fancy car, wish to have $1 million bucks. Well, I wish I don't be in love. So tell me, pretty baby, I make one wish and I wish it all on you. Making love to the break of dawn, me and you to the baby's born, till my baby's born.